Okay, so here we are. We've got our blank Silhouette Design Studio mat page up. Mine currently right now is just set to a 12 by 24 inch mat. You don't have to have yours set to a 12 by 24 inch mat. I was just cutting a template before we got started. And so I was on using 24 inches of flock to do that. But in any event, like I said, this is your design mat, and I'm going to go and bring in the image that we're going to work on today. Let's see. Let me just go out to. Oh, let me see. I'm gonna do it the other way. Give me just a second. Can I? Oh, give me just a second. My this is not gonna be. Oh, okay. Hold on, ladies. Let me I gotta see if I can figure out what's going on with this mouse. I'm gonna. So here's the image that we're going to work with today. And how many of you are familiar with the trace function in Silhouette? Okay, you all familiar? Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this image so that we can get, or we're going to all trace this image, okay, so that we can get, create this and turn it into the vector file that we need to do two things. We can create this file and turn it into an SVG, right? Everybody know what an SVG is? Scalable vector graphic. That will allow you to scale this design in different sizes for you to use for whichever reasons. You can change the colors. You can use it for, like you say, DTF, sublimation, all different types of applications you can then use that image for to do other things. And then secondary, we can also turn it into our Rhinestone template, right? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to the trace panel function, and I'm going to select the trace area, and I'm just going to draw my box around the area that I want to trace. Let the machine do what it do. And if you see what happens, it traced out and it made the cutout for what it saw in the design. But what I want is I want the tongue to be a full tongue, right? Not just this outline that was created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the threshold down, and how and I'm going to use over here under the threshold, I'm going to use my down arrow keys to get that threshold to where I get the full tongue and the full set of lips. And I'm just going to keep bringing that down. And as you can see, when I do that, it's starting to change the image. Okay, so now you can see that you have the outline for the lips, right? We have the outline for the tongue and the teeth, and part of that offset back there. So now that I'm happy with what my design looks like, I'll go ahead and hit the trace button and allow the system to trace it. When it's done, you just move the graphic off of your design mat, and this is what you're left with, right? I'm going to go ahead and blow my screen up a little bit so you guys can see that. Okay, so does everybody have this type of image on their screen after their trace? Okay, Tracy, you shaking your head no. So go ahead and unmute yourself so I can
I am still trying to figure out this image again.
okay.
Don't go ahead. I'll catch up though.
Okay, but you remember from last night, you remember we took your trace down. I think we had to take your trace down just a little bit further in
Yeah.
order for you to but you keep playing around with just your image and the trace function, and then you'll catch back up because you actually have this. You have this already.
Yes.
So anyway, ladies, so here we are, and here's our image. Okay, Francine, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I just did it, and I still had some dots at the top.
So
behind, on top of the tonsils or whatever.
Okay.
I just heard you say to Tracina that she needs to or someone that you need to turn the threshold down a little bit more?
A little bit more, or it might be such that, let's go ahead, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll let you share your screen and I can just look at it. And basically, if you basically have your outlines, right? If you have this outline behind, the lips, right? This what looks like an offset, and you have good clear lines for that. And then you have good clear lines for this space right in here, which would be the lips, the teeth, and the tongue. It's really all you need. And the rest of it we can clean up once we release the compound path. But if you want to, like I said, share your screen and do it again.
You don't have, you don't have to. I did exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Go down a little bit. I went down to 13 on my threshold.
And that made it better?
Okay.
Okay.
Took away the dots and I made it all better. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And it's something that you have to play around with. It'll be different for every image that you bring in, but if you use that sliding tool, that should help. So anyway, so now that we're all here at the same place for the most part, we have our image. And as you know, once you trace the image, it still gives you the image as one, everything here is together, right? So what we want to do now is we want to select the entire image. So we'll just click on it. And then we're going to right click with our mouse. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to release the compound path, because we want to be able to work with individualized pieces of this graphic. So I'm going to release the compound. Make sure I am. And once you do that, now you see that you have several boxes around the different elements of the graphic, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just click anywhere in my design mat just to deselect everything. And I'm going to start pulling away the pieces that I want to keep. Okay, so I definitely want to keep the lips. So I'm going to click that and just drag it. I'm just going to drag it off to the side. So everybody just kind of take their lips and just drag it off to the side. And then after that, we have the teeth. Okay, so we can click on the teeth and we can just drag it out of the way for the moment. And we have our tongue. We can click it and drag it out of the way. And then we have our offset back here in the back. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and just drag that out of the way. So what I don't want is this piece, this logo piece right here, right? Because we don't want to be copyright infringement upon nobody, because we ain't trying to get any cease and desist letters in the mails, right, ladies? And so we don't need this. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to drag the box around all of that and then just delete it, because we're not going to work with that. And so what we're left with is the 4 elements pieces currently of our graphic. And as it stands right now, we can take these pieces and just turn them into an SVG. Okay, we have our offset. And if you go ahead and if you click on it, we can go ahead and turn this right back into the graphic that we had earlier. So I'm going to go to my palette or my fill panel, where we're going to fill it in with color. So, over here on the right-hand side of your screen is your palette, your paint palette or your fill panel. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that back to the black that it was before. So everybody go ahead and turn yours to black. And let me know with a nod of your head. No, Tracina, don't stop. You need to be like this. You need to nod this way. I don't want to see any more of this. Okay, we're gonna get through this and then we're gonna go help we're gonna help Tracy. Jackie, Frank, everybody, you ladies good? Okay. So now we've got our offset here. So the next thing I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring in are the lips. So we have our lips. We're going to click on it and we're going to go ahead into our fill panel and we're going to go ahead and turn it back to red. Okay. And then once we do that, we're going to just drag it back over into the graphic and try to line it back up the way it was before. Sometimes when you get in there, once you kind of get it in place, I like to use my up and down arrow keys because they make the smaller increment moves rather than the mouse that sometimes is not, you can't always control. I'm just gonna shift that over just a little bit, maybe bring it down. That looks about right. Okay. So the next thing we have is the teeth. Okay. And our teeth, like I said, they look like they're white, but that's because they're right behind the white background. So if we want to make sure, see, they're not white. So we want to go ahead and turn them white. So we're going to click on it and go to the fill panel and turn them white. And then once we do that, we can bring it back onto the back behind here in the offset, line it up. Everybody there? Okay. No, no, okay, go ahead, Francina, what you got? Unmute yourself.
I am trying to turn my teeth white. Oh,
Uh-huh.
I hit the wrong white. It's good.
It happens to me daily. All right. And then the next thing we have left, the last piece is the tongue. So we're going to go ahead and grab our tongue and we'll go ahead and find a pinky kind of color on our color palette. I'm going to go with this one. If you, and do you know that, in your paint palette, if you don't find the color that you like, you can use that arrow wheel, that arrow over here underneath the custom color to kind of change that to a different color. So if I currently have it changed to this pink, but if I wanted it to be a little bit, if I wanted it to be a little bit brighter, I could come here and put my mouse on this little arrow and just kind of scroll down, and you see how it's changing color. So you can change colors here as well. Or sometimes what I've done is if I can't find the color that I'm looking for in my color palette, I've gone out to the internet and I pulled in a color swatch from Google. You can go in and just type in pink color swatches and it'll give you variations of the different color pinks. And if you bring that in, matter of fact, let me go ahead and I'll just show you right quick. I don't know well, before I ask you that, how many of you know how to use your eyedropper tool? Okay, so I'm saying something that you guys already know. Okay, so you know how to use the eyedropper tool to bring in, to change colors based on, go ahead, Francina.
Usually what I do is I go to Google and I Google the art, either I'll Google what are the RGB colors for pink.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you're using pink or blue or whatever, because sometimes I might not be able to get it that exact color that I want.
Exactly.
So I'll go out there because if you look at it, you see the next to hex, you see the FFF for the that's the FFF, the 6 Fs for the pink that I picked. But if I want something to be particular,
right,
I'll go out to Google and I'll either Google the hexadecimal code or the RGB color code.
that's right. And exactly. And if you click this arrow right here, this drop down arrow, it will give you either the hex. So if you're searching for the hex, you can put in the hex code. If you have found the RGB, you just click on the RGB and then you would put those RGB numbers there to get you that color. But I love using the eyedropper tool and bringing in and I'll just do it real quick. It won't take, but well, I'm sharing my screen, so maybe not. I won't do that right now. But you can do that, and I love it because, like I said, it opens up so many different variations for you to change your design, and you're not limited to what you currently have in your fill panel. But anyway, we got our pink tongue, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that back, line it up, and 1, 2, 3, ABC. Look what we got. We got us a SVG. How about that, right? And so now, like I said, if you wanted to use this for, like I said, sublimation, HTV, glitter, whatever, you now have an image that you can put on a t-shirt if you so wanted to, okay? So that is so now we want to take our image just a little bit further, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this because sometimes when I'm selling Rhinestone Template. Sometimes people want the SVG. I mean, sometimes people want either the SVG or the PNG image. Maybe, like I said, they want to do sublimation and they want to have the image that has color behind it when they do their rhinestones or what have you. So it's always a good idea to save this image. And if you ever needed to make another rhinestone template, you don't have to go through the steps of having to recreate the image all over again, right? You've already got it, it's done. So I'm gonna go real quickly and I'm just gonna go ahead and just save this image. And if you all know, probably to save, you just go up here to File. I do Save As. I'm gonna save this to my hard drive. I have a folder for all my work in progress. Don't laugh, I know I'm busy, ladies. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this as my lips, and I'm gonna call it version 2 because I already have one. And I'm gonna save it as both the native silhouette file, because I like to have both the silhouette file, and then I go back in and I'll save it again, and I will save that one as the SVG. Okay, so now I have my image saved. So now I want to turn this into a rhinestone design. So basically, if I draw a box around it right now and came over to the rhinestone panel, which is this icon right over here at the bottom on the right, and I click on it, and I just go ahead and hit the outline edge fill, edge effect. It went ahead and it turned all of that into a rhinestones, right? I mean, but we could go in and we could select the individual elements and change their fill patterns. So I selected the lips, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the radial fill because we have curves in our design. And then I'll go ahead and click the tongue, do the same thing, and it filled that in. And then of course we can't see the teeth right at the moment, but I'll go ahead and do that one. And I'm gonna turn my design mat background black. And you all know that if you just go to the very top icon, that's your page setup screen. And I'm going to turn the media color, which is the background behind the back, black. Well, I'm going to turn it gray so that we can see our image. So there we go, right? We've got, ooh, look at that. It's a very basic rhinestone design as it stands right at the moment. But as you can see, we have some issues, right? We got some overlapping stones in the outline. We've got the overlapping stones right now in the tongue and such. And so we're going to have to kind of fix that if we want to make it like it should be. And so this is where we're going to come in and we're going to start using our modify panel and our offset panel. So are you ladies familiar with your the modify and the offset panels in Silhouette? No? Okay, Jackie's saying yes, and Francina saying maybe. She's saying no. Okay, and Tracy.
I got lost, excuse me, I got lost when you started doing the stones because when I went to click on it, everything highlighted. I didn't group everything together. Like I couldn't hit the top of the when I hit the black part, the whole thing comes into a square.
It's so the whole thing it filled in all of the stones behind it.
No,
so
it did, when I went to go do the rhinestone effect, the whole SVG, the whole thing is just in that square box.
Okay, because your box is still selected. Okay, so if you once we okay, let me go back. I'm gonna go back.
Sorry, everybody.
No, this is the whole purpose for class. There's no sorries here, okay? So don't say sorry anymore. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go back to the original SVG image, right? So did yours look like this when you grouped the box around everything? Did you get a box that put a box around the entire each of your images? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. That way we can talk.
Yes, I did. Now,
okay, so
like that, yes.
It looks like this, right? So I'm gonna click anywhere on my design mat just to go ahead and deselect everything. Okay. Because if you have your boxes like this and you click on something, like if I do this right now and I left it just like this and went over here to the rhinestone panel and clicked any one of these, when I click on them, if I click the hatch fill, you see how everything changed because everything is selected.
Right.
Okay. If I change it to the radial fill, it's going to do the same thing. And if I click the edge fill, it's going to do the same thing. So in order for that not to happen, we want to make sure that our image is deselected when we go in, and we only are working in the section that we want to work in. And one way to know which part of the image you have selected is if you look over here on the left-hand side of your screen up here where I'm going to take my mouse over here. You see this little button? This is your fill panel box over here. There's a fill panel. So it tells you once you have something selected, like say if I click on this back layer, you see how the box turned black?
Yes.
So that means that your black layer has been selected. So now if I go over to the rhinestone panel and I click the radial fill, it fills in all of the black. And if I move it out of the way, you see I can just, that's the only thing that turned was that.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do my undo, and I'm going to put everything back because I only want that to be the edge panel. Okay. So I'm just going to turn that back to edge. So now if I click on the red, okay, so I'm going to move my cursor down a little, select the red. I'm going to check my box over here, make sure that my red layer has been selected. And then I'm going to turn on the effect that I want for this red layer. And I'm going to click the radial fill. And so now it filled in those stones with the radial fill.
Got it.
So is that working for you now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now that we know how to turn each of those layers into its various fill pattern, now we're going to work with actually, working with this particular image. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the effect off. I'm just going to grab a box and highlight everything, and I'm going to turn off the rhinestone effect. So we're back to our original graphic. And I'm going to go ahead and so what we want is, but if you notice, like I said, when we work with the back panel and we turn on the radial fill, it fills in the whole thing, right? And we know that we don't want rhinestones to be on this back part where the teeth are, where the tongue is, and the lips are, right? So we have to make space for these elements to fit into the rhinestone design. And so that's where we're going to come in, and we're going to use our modify panel to modify the back part of this graphic to insert these pieces. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the effect. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just scale this up. Well, I'm going to bring my screen in a little bit. I'm going to zoom in so that you can maybe see it just a little bit better. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click my back layer, which is the black one. Okay, and we check it over here, and I have my black layer selected. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to select the red layer. Okay, and in order to have both of them selected, I'm going to hold down my shift key. So I want everybody to hold their shift key down. Okay, and then I want you to click on the red layer, and you'll know that the red layer is clicked because you'll see the box. So everybody have two boxes now. Okay, you have your black layer selected and your red layer selected. You can let go of your shift key and both of those boxes will stay highlighted. And what I want you to do is I want you to go over here on the right-hand side of your screen, and we're going to open up the modify panel. Okay, and the modify panel is this one right here with the little rectangle and the circle. And I want you to click on it. When you click on it, I want you to click the button that says subtract all. Okay, so click on subtract all, and it doesn't look like it has done anything, but if you deselect both images, if you deselect both parts of the image, just click anywhere on the mat, and we're going to click on the red lips, and we're going to drag that out. You see how it cut out?
Hmm.
You see how it cut that out now? So
Hmm.
now we have something that we can insert into this part of the graphic, okay? So now that we've cut out it, we're gonna just move our lips over here off to the side for a minute, okay? We need to do the same thing with the tongue. Where are you? Okay, Tracy's shaking her head. So I want to get Tracy caught up before we go any further. So Tracy, go ahead and unmute yourself so we can get you caught up.
Okay, so it's not doing it.
It's not doing it.
It's not subtracting all. So when I try to click on the lips, I'm getting the whole black and the red.
Okay, so I'm gonna need to, you know me, I have to be visual. So
Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a minute.
Where's my screen?
And I'm gonna allow Tracy to go ahead and share her screen.
Okay, where is it at?
I think is it on the bottom? Mine's is on the bottom, but yours could be someplace else.
Okay. Okay. Can you see?
I can see.
Okay. So
Okay. Well, but before we go any further, the first thing I'm going to tell you that I notice about your graphic is your tongue is overhanging the bottom part of your. So at some point, did you? Right. So go ahead and at least move your stuff back into place.
Okay.
There you go. And then use your arrow keys and they will give you the, Okay, so there you go. So now you have your image. And so now from there, so right now, click on the,
Something happened. Wait. I did something. Let's see.
all right.
Here we go.
Okay, so now you should be able to click the back layer. So it's right. Now hold your shift key and click the red layer. Okay, now click subtract all. And you remember Tracy, every time after you've done something, just click anywhere in your design mat to deselect everything. And then that way, when you go to click on the next thing, you won't have to worry about your image moving out of place. So you should already have the subtract. So now just click anywhere on the mat, just click right. Now move the lips.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and ask Tracy to stop sharing her screen, and I'm going to bring my screen back up. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're all going to remove the lips. Excuse me, the tongue. And we're going to, excuse me, we're going to do that the same exact method. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on the tongue. Okay, and you can tell because I have the pink layer selected, the box is around the pink, and I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm just going to click this back layer. Okay, so now I have a box around the back layer and the tongue, and we're going to go ahead and release the shift key. We still have our modify panel open. If you don't, go ahead and open it, and we're going to click subtract all. Okay. Once we do that, I'm going to click anywhere in my design mat, and I'm going to click on the tongue, and I'm going to move it out of the way. Now, as you can see, my tongue wasn't exactly in the right spot, right? You see how I now have this little open area down here at the bottom? And I don't necessarily want that, because what's going to happen is when we try to turn this part of the design into rhinestones, we're going to have missing stones there. So I'm going to go back. And if yours does not look like mine, you have yours came out right, just stay right there. Okay, I'm going to just go back and I'm going to undo what I did, and I'm going to move my tongue into position so that when I do this, it goes into the right spot. So I'm going to just do this again. No, I'm not going to do that. Do this. Backspace, subtract all. Okay. So everybody's got an image that looks like this now? Oh, Tracy, got your hand up?
So my black under there is got the space in it. So how do I get it where it's back?
So you have to go back, go back like I did, go back to before you cut the image out. Just keep going back till you get to, if you want to share your screen again so I can follow you.
Okay, so just keep going all the way back and move my tongue up is what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we'll wait till you get there.
Okay, I'm almost there.
I have a question
Yes,
while
ma'am.
she's doing that.
Mhm.
Did you group your entire image?
I haven't grouped it yet.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, since when we put the tongue, when we were separating everything, why did we have to subtract? Couldn't we just move the tongue and the lips out the way?
Because what's going to happen is when you go and you're going to have overlapping stones when you go to create your image, your rhinestones. So we have to and we want, so like I said, I'm going to show you like right now. Oh, I don't want to move that just yet, but see right now, remember before when I clicked on the back panel when it was all black, right? And we did the effect and we turned on the radial and the whole thing filled up with stones, right?
Okay.
We can't if we do that, when we go make our template, those stones are going to be they're going to be there, right? And we don't need those stones to be there because we want to see the tongue, we want to see the teeth, we want to see the lips. So we create this, and what I'll show you is when I click on the rhinestone panel here, and if I do it now, if I show you through all the different effects, when I click on the edge, you see what happens now?
Yes.
See, now we don't have those stones in the spaces that we don't want it to be.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so this way, when we get ready to fit our lips in there, we're not done yet, but see, then the lips will fit right in there. And then the tongue will fit right in there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I will have to subtract pieces from my graphics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll all start to kind of tie together and make a little bit more sense as we keep going through the process. And then you'll start saying, oh yeah, now I get it. I understand. Okay. So let's see. Tracy, are you there now?
I had to do the same thing Tristina had to do. And now I'm back with everything. And so I guess we could just move the tongue, to make the background white. I guess
what do you mean?
Tell
me again. It's okay.
I went all the way back because when I went to move my tongue, some of the black in the background the line was missing.
Oh, okay. So you had the same kind of problem that I had.
Right.
Okay.
So now I'm just back together, and my mind is like, now what do I do next?
So you moved your tongue up a little bit, right? So now we're going to go back. Once you've moved your tongue back up into place, you're just going to select the tongue and you're going to select the back part of the image, and then you're going to click subtract all from the modify panel. And when you're done, you should have an image that looks like this one once you move the tongue out of the way. No? Hey, Miss Stacy, I see you. Come on.
So what I'm going to do, like you said, is the tongue and everything is back in there. I'm going to click on the tongue. And I'm going to click on the black part of the image.
Right. So make sure when you click on the tongue, you hold your shift key and then click on the back part of the image so that both of those images are selected. And then click on subtract all.
Okay.
And then deselect everything. Just click anywhere in the design mat, and then see if your tongue, when you move your tongue out of the way, if you have your image that looks like the one on my screen.
No, it didn't. I must have missed a step.
All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to let you share your screen so that I can follow along with you.
Okay, you know what? Okay, hold on 1 second. Share my screen. Okay.
Okay. So, okay, so we're gonna do a few things before, because I'm gonna help you fix your image a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think your red is a little bit out of place. It's a little bit too
Yeah.
far down, which doesn't give you the opportunity to bring your tongue where it needs to go.
Okay.
So click on the red. Okay, and then use your arrow keys to kind of shift it up a little bit. Okay, a little bit, man. Let's see. I think that's good, because now I want you to go ahead and click on the teeth, and let's go ahead and shift them up. And that's probably good right about there. And now your image looks to be okay. Okay, so from here, let's go ahead and do the lips first. Let's go ahead and select the lips and hold your shift key, and then hit the back black part of the layer. And go ahead and click subtract all. Okay, now deselect. And let's move the lips out of the way. There you go. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's click the tongue. And let's go ahead and click the back layer. No, put the tongue back. Do undo.
Okay.
Holding the shift key, click the back layer.
Like right about here?
Yeah, just click anywhere on that back layer. But you gotta put your mouse over it. Put your mouse, there you go. Now click it. Okay, and click subtract all. Okay, deselect anywhere on the mat, click. Click, there you go, and move the tongue out of the way. There you go.
All right.
Okay. All right. So now that we got Francina up where she needs to go, you're very welcome. I'm going to go ahead and bring my screen back up. Okay. So the last thing we need to do, ladies, is we need to go ahead and subtract the teeth. Okay. So everybody know how to do the process now. We're going to go ahead and click our teeth, hold the shift key, click our back part of our image. Both are selected. I'm going to open my modify panel again. Again, this rectangle here with the circle, and click subtract all. I'm going to deselect, and then I'm going to move the teeth here out of the way. So now we have this image that looks just like this. Let me know everybody got one looks just like this. Everybody good? Wonderful, wonderful. So now we're going to, now here's where the fun part begins, right? Here's where we're going to really start turning this design into our rhinestone template. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to work with the lips, okay? And as you can see, if we just put that kind of back where it was, and we do the same thing, we click on the back panel and open up the rhinestone panel and turn on the edge fill. Oh, let me, and then click on the red and turn on the radial fill. We've got these overlapping stones, right? And that's not going, we can't, that's not going to work for us. So what we got to do is we got to create the piece that fits inside of the outline. So I'm going to turn the effects off, turn the other one off. Okay. And so I have my lips. Here are my lips. I want to create an internal offset. Anybody create an internal offset before? No? Oh, I know you have. You're gonna be my problem student. No, I'm just messing. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna create an internal offset because what we want to do is we want to fit these red lips inside the outline of our offset here. So in order to do that, I'm going to turn my lips a different color just so that you guys can see better. So I'm going to just go ahead and go to the fill panel, and I'm just going to turn the I'm going to just turn this to like a light gray. Okay. And then I'm also going to go in here and I'm going to turn off the line around the image so that we don't get confused with where the lines are. And in order to do that, you just go here to your line style panel, which is underneath the fill panel. Okay, we're going to click the second one, which is the line color. And then we're going to click the box that says none, and that's the one that has the triangle in it. And that just turns off that red outline. Okay. To create the, excuse me, to create the internal offset, we're going to go to our offset panel. Okay, the offset panel is the one over here. This star, like a double star. You see, it says open the offset panel when I hover over it. So I'm going to open that up. Okay. And we have two different types of offsets that we can make. We can make the offset that goes around the external part of the image. And we have the internal offset that creates an internal offset. Okay. So that's what the one we're going to create for this. So we're going to click this one that says internal offset. Okay. Now, because I am working, we're going to be making our design using SS10 stones, okay? Because that's the most readily available for most people. I will say that, you know, if you're able to use SS6 stones, SS6 stones are going to give you a much more detailed image because you're using a smaller stone, but we're still going to be able to make this, and this is going to look good in our SS10 stone size. So we're going to create this internal offset, and I'm going to use an offset distance. If you look underneath there, you have this thing that says distance, okay? I'm going to use the distance of a 0.130. I want you ladies to write that down, or I want you to try to remember it, because that 0.130, that is the default size in Silhouette for an SS10 rhinestone. And we need our distance to be at the distance away from the outline for the size of our stone. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to use this distance of 0.130. And as you can see, we can't really get any stones in this piece right here because it's too narrow. It's too narrow to fit in there, but that's okay. It'll be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to click apply. Okay, we click apply. And once we do that, you see that we got a box. We got two boxes. We've got a box around that little small piece. And then we've got the box around the bigger piece. While the two boxes are selected, if we just right click with our mouse and we hit group, it'll group those two images together. So everybody right click and group your two internal offsets together. And when you do that, now you'll get one single box. Everybody got one single box? No? What happened, Jackie? Unmute yourself.
I don't know what's happening. I got the two boxes, but it's, let me see. Okay, wait a minute. Grouped.
You got
I'm grouped.
it?
I
Okay.
got.
You there, Francina? You sure? She got a slow nod going. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Just ask.
I got it. I guess when I moved behind my red lips, it was an outline.
So what happened?
Red outline somewhere. I guess when I did the offset distance, I set it to zeros.
Uh-huh. Well, let's go ahead. You go back and undo, because if you create an offset and you know, you will have multiple offsets there because it will create them even if you don't click apply. If you just move off the mat and do something else, you'll have multiple offsets that you've created. So if you have more than one, just go back and do your undo until you get, and start from the beginning. And I'll walk you through it if you want. So did you do your undo? Are you back to just the lips?
I did my undo, but
Okay.
something behind
There's still something behind there. Just move, you know what? Move the lips out of the way, and whatever is behind it, just go ahead and select it and delete it.
Okay.
And we'll start over.
All right. Okay, I got the lips.
So
Okay.
you got your lips.
I left them as red.
That's well, go ahead and turn them a different color for right the second, just so you can see. So you can see your line, you can see the offset the inset when you create it.
Okay.
And whatever color, there's just a lighter color that you can see.
A lighter color. Okay. I don't know why I choose the purple.
Well, if you choose the light purple, like the lilac, that would work.
I chose like a beige. I'm good.
Okay, so now you got your so now your lips. So now we're gonna go ahead and open up that offset panel, and we're gonna click internal offset.
Wait a minute. Offset panel. Okay.
Okay.
Click on internal offset.
Click on internal, and we're gonna change the distance space to the 0.130.
0.130. Okay.
Okay, and then you can click apply.
Got it.
Okay, so now when you click
red line on the inside, okay.
You see so now you have two boxes, right? You got the little one on the little one on the left, and then the bigger one on the towards the right, right? And they're both still selected or not?
Everything is selected, but you know how you have look on your screen, point to the two boxes you're talking about so I can see.
Well, I've already grouped mine together, but I'll ungroup it so that you can see. So so you see where hold on a second. So you have this. You see now.
I have one. I have one.
You have one?
Right. I don't have the two little. I see the two little boxes you're talking about. I just have one.
Okay, so which one is selected right now? Just the bigger one or the little one?
Both up. This one big. Just the whole lips.
Okay, so deselect so that you don't have anything selected.
Okay.
Okay, so now if you click on, you should be able to click on the little small offset over here, like I got mine. You see it?
Nope.
Okay, do you have a little small inset right here?
Nope.
You don't.
I just have the whole lips is together. It's no two. You know how you have.
You don't have two. You don't have yours. Didn't give you two like this when you created your.
No.
Okay. Well, let me stop sharing my screen for a minute and let me just see your screen.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we might like what you got better than we got.
Can you see it? Okay.
Oh, look at there. Okay. And maybe the reason why is because currently, all right, well, then you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the way that your inset created. And actually, to be honest, I like your inset created a whole lot better, right? Because if you currently, like I say, right now, let's just unselect it. And just drag that inset, or just drag the lips out of the way first. Yeah, just move them out of the way. And if you take your inset that you created and you put it into that space, you can leave that right there, it's fine.
Okay.
So grab your inset or your offset, right? And drag it and move it into the space where it fits. Bring it down a little bit. You see how that fits in there real nice? Okay. Now I'm gonna just show you something really quickly, and then you'll stay where you are, and the rest of us will catch up to you.
Okay, so you want me to stop sharing?
I want everybody can see what we're doing.
Tanya, is it because of her measurements?
It could, yes, it probably was the way her when she however she created hers, she has more space in that area than we do. Okay. but that's the beauty of, you know, like I said, all of us doing our own thing. Because when we do it, everybody's might be look different than somebody else's. So good for you. You.
Okay.
But I want you to, so now I want you to click on, I want you to just go ahead and click your inset. Right. Now I want you to open up your rhinestone panel. Okay. I want you to go ahead and click the radial fill. Okay. And I want you to go ahead and change your spacing to 0.20. 0.020.
0.20. I'm sorry.
So 0.020. Everybody write that down. Okay. Your spacing, and this is now, there are some people who will tell you that you can get your spacing tighter than this. Okay. I like to use the 0.2, and you're welcome to change this if you like, to try to get your stones to be even a little bit closer. But I like to use the 0.20 spacing because every cutting machine is different. And we don't necessarily know if we're selling our templates to others, what type of machine they may be using. And so I try to give enough space so that no matter what cutting machine people are using, they can cut this template when they import it into like Cricut Design Space and hopefully not have an issue once their template cuts, because there's not enough space between the circles. Because you know, if you get your circles too close together, when you pull your flock off of the mat, sometimes you can tear it. And if you tear it, that's not good, because now we've wasted, you know, our expensive flock. But so I like to use the 0.20 spacing, and then make adjustments if I need to once I release my rhinestones. But Francina, so you see how once we created that inset, you see how our stones fit nicely right inside of the graphic?
I put the 0.020, but I didn't hit enter. So did you want me to hit enter?
Oh yeah, you can hit enter. Okay. And then let's go to the fill panel. And let's just go ahead and turn those rhinestones, those circles to red.
Okay, so I need to go click on the red.
And there we go. All right. You see now, you see how our design is starting to take shape? All right. So Francina, you sit tight. You can stop sharing your screen, and I'm gonna go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
See, you have the little spots like right here.
We'll work on that.
Okay.
Okay. And you, like I said, now sometimes, and I'm saying this probably more so for your twin over there, who likes to try to fit as many stones as she most possibly can into these little tiny spaces. Okay.
Gotcha.
The system is going to automatically give you it's going to render the stones based on the settings that you gave it. Okay. If it doesn't put a stone in a spot, it's because it thinks that, or it's saying that that space is too narrow for the spacing that you specified for the next stone. Okay. It doesn't always mean that you can't put a stone there. It's just the system is just saying that it's not going to put a stone there based on the specifications that you gave it. Okay. Once we release the rhinestones, okay, we can make some manual adjustments in some places, okay, to try to fill in some gaps. But that's where the manual labor comes in, as you're trying to tweak that design to make it as good as you possibly can. But we do that once we release the rhinestones. Okay. Gotcha. So you sit tight. All and right. I'm gonna get myself in that same spot along with everybody else. Okay, I'm just gonna go get some water. There you go. I'm gonna share my screen.
I have a question too.
Okay.
My lips look big.
They look big.
Yeah. I mean, not the lips. I'm sorry, my rhinestones. It looks thin, but it looks big.
Let's well, before we get started, let me go ahead and look at your screen, and we'll talk through what you got going on and make sure that even though it may look a certain kind of way, as long as the SS10 button has been selected, and we choose our spacing to that 0.20, you should be fine when you go to cut your template, but let's look at it together.
Okay. Can you see it?
I can.
Okay. So let me say this. This is the first one that I did, and I did have a little one and the big one like you had it, but then I went and did it again and had it look like all the way around.
Okay.
And the circles look a little bit big, and it's all on the line as well.
Well, we're not as concerned sometimes about well, I tell you what, I want to just make sure that everything which it looks fine to me, but let's just go through the steps again. There's your lips over there on the left, right? Not that one. No, you can leave that one there for the time being. And remember, if you click something, if you want to just automatically put it back where it was, just always click your undo and it'll put it back exactly where it was, and you won't have to worry about trying to figure out if you lined it back up properly. Okay.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and
this is the first one that I did.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and delete that one.
Which one? This one?
You can delete it. Okay, so grab your lip spec so I can see. Okay, there we go. So let's go through the process again. Let's go ahead and create that internal offset.
Where's my internal offset? Let me click on that. Click on that.
Change your distance. See, your distance, you made your distance is and that's probably you got your distance at 0.060, which it's the reason why your stones, because you don't have enough space. Remember I told you the space between the outline and your stones should be at 0.130. If you now you could probably make this one, let's just say, let's change yours to 0.120.
This is for the internal as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's hit apply.
Did I do internal? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Let me do.
Now you got two. Just
Control Z. And hit apply. Oh, what am I doing?
That's okay. Whenever you get in doubt and you get confused, just go ahead and hit your undo key, and your undo key will take you right back to where you started. So let's just do undo. Okay. So that was the first one that you created. Let's go ahead and hit undo again. Okay, so now we don't have any off. Now we have no offset. So now we're going to click internal offset. It's and this one, when you created it to the 0.120, you see how it won't allow you to group those two together because the space in between is so narrow, right? It's saying that it can't get in there. But that's okay. But remember that's still okay. Okay. So if you go ahead right now and you click apply. Okay. Right. So now you have your inset. And they should be right. Well, there you go. So now they're grouped together. So let's just move that one out of the way. And let's go ahead and put our that's okay. Take your inset.
Where's my little oh, wait.
They didn't get grouped together. So go ahead and do undo. We have to put it back the way it was. Otherwise, you're not going to be grouped together correctly. So just undo. There you go. Now click on the little one. And hold your shift. Hold on a second. Click it again. Sometimes when now it's just keep trying to click in that, no,
Oh,
try.
in here?
Yeah.
It's not letting me,
It's okay. Just hold on a second. Stop clicking for a minute. Now unclick. Okay. I want you to click the back layer of the offset, right? So that piece is selected. Go ahead and right click with your mouse and send that image to the back. You see where it says send to back? Yes, click that and send to back. So now when you go, click anywhere on the map. Now when you try to click, you should be able to click again.
it's not.
Click again. Okay, click the other part of the inset.
That's what I'm doing.
Click it. Okay. Right click with your mouse for a minute.
Ungroup.
Okay, that's because they're already grouped together.
Oh.
So if you drag that, you should have, no, okay, something's not right. Oh, I think, okay, click that and click ungroup. There you go. So now do undo. Well, no, you know what? Don't do undo. Don't do undo. Move your lips back. Move your gray part of the lips. Actually, leave that right there. Leave that right there and grab that top inset and bring it into place.
Oh, okay.
A little bit, bring it down just a little bit, a little down. Okay. Yeah. And a little over, maybe just bring it a little over to the left. So, no, and
am I bringing it up?
What move?
Oh,
the gray, the gray move.
Gray is moving.
Yeah. So click again on the inset. Don't ungroup. Just
Okay, now it's the inset.
Right, but now what we need to do just we are going to have to ungroup because the gray area is grouped to that small piece of the inset. So
Yeah.
unselect your right, and now click ungroup. Okay, so now click your two pieces of the inset. That one, shift, and the little piece. Right, now group. Right, now group.
Okay.
So now you should be able to move your inset.
Ooh.
That's right. That's okay. Because we're not using that piece. We're using that piece right there. And right now turn on your rhinestone effect.
Okay. Which one are we doing? This one?
The radial. And let's go ahead and turn our stones red so you can see them.
Okay.
Okay. Now, like I said, we can see right now that there might be places where we can add, some more stones, right in there, but we do that after we release the rhinestones. Okay. So you sit tight now, and let me go ahead and share my screen.
Here, stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Give me just a minute. All right. So I'm going to get caught up with everybody else. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. And I'm just going to group my two pieces together. And now I have mine. I'm going to move that off to the left. And I'm going to move my inset over here. Up, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And I like the radial fill. And you see how your circles are big? They look like mine. See, I got big circles too. It's okay. But I also did not change my spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to change my spacing to 0.020 and hit enter. Okay, and so now I've got some more stones. Okay, so now we've done our lips. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the tongue. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of bring my tongue over here so you guys can see it. And I'm just going to, again, I'm just going to turn it to a lighter color just so that everybody can see the line once I create the internal inset. Just turn it gray, and I'm gonna turn the other lines off so I don't confuse myself. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the image. I'm going to click on the offset panel, click internal offset, and it usually will always default to the last internal offset spacing distance that you used the last time. Okay, so Jackie, I know you used 0.120 for yours. You can either use that. Let's see what happens when you create it using the 0.130, because that's typically the spacing that you will use. Although, like I say, you can make, minor adjustments, but that's usually where we'll start. So everybody go ahead and create the internal offset for their tongue using that same distance of the 0.130. And then everybody just nod when they get there. Okay, Jackie's good. Francina said yes. There's my twin. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just turn the rhinestone panel on. And I'm going to use, again, the radial fill to fill that in. It automatically defaults to the last spacing that we used previously. So you should already have your stone spaced at the 0.20 spacing. I'm going to just go ahead and turn them into a pink color. And I'm going to go ahead and fit that right back into its space. And y'all let me know when you get there. All right. Okay. Oh, you have a question.
What is your spacing on? Is it the 0.020?
Mm-hmm. And the reason mine could look a little bit different in terms of, the holes and so forth and so on is because right now, I don't have my image scale. My image is only 5.242 inches wide by 6.085 inches tall, right?
And
But if I were to upscale this bit, make this bigger, see, everything is going to scale accordingly. And now I'm gonna, everybody see that?
Okay, I have a question. So I was thinking I'm making mine smaller because I was gonna make a patch, right? So mine is 3.89 by 3.801.
Okay.
But they look so bunched together.
And that's because, like I said, the smaller your size,
Okay.
you got to remember that you have to compensate for the size of the stone. So if you wanted yours to be small, like 3 inches, 3 by 3 or 4 by 4, you may have to resort to using SS6 stones.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
If you wanted to have more definition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But right now, so I went ahead and I scaled my image up. Now, the reason why when I scaled my image up, everything kind of scaled up with it, the stones and everything, is because currently we're just looking at the graphic in the effects panel, right? We haven't changed anything as far as the graphic is concerned. So this is a way that you can sometimes adjust. Say, for instance, you say, I'm not certain, really what size I want my template to be or how big I want it to be. So before you release your rhinestones, if you just work with your graphic with the effect turned on, you can still scale and move as long as you group everything together. You can move, you can scale it up, scale it down, and figure out where you want your design to be before you actually release the rhinestones. Because once you release the rhinestones, you can't go back and change your size. Okay, that'll be the size that it will have to be when you're done. So let me just zoom out just a little bit. So right now, you know, I've gone ahead and I've just scaled my design, you know, to so let's say it's right now it's 7.458 inches wide by 8.656 inches high. So if you just wanted to have, you know, a design that kind of fit right there in the middle of the chest, that would be a perfect size for that. And as you can see, this looks really good like that. If you wanted it to be larger, you just, like I said, group everything together, drag from the corner, just drag from the corner and just keep scaling it up until you got it where you want it to be. So let's say I wanted to make this 9 inches wide. Oops. So now I'm at 9.257 inches wide by 10.745. So now we have more stones than we had before, but as you can see, pretty much consistently, everything pretty much consistently stayed the same. Okay. What it did do was it allowed us to be able to have a little bit more space, right? Right here in that area where we don't have any stones. And like I said before, we don't have to worry. It didn't add any more stones there, right? Because we didn't have the inset that we created was only for that little spot right there. So it just added more stones in that spot. But once we've released the rhinestones, we can go in and manually add some stones in that space if we wanted to. Does that make sense? Okay. So now that I have my design, I'm gonna just leave it here at this particular width. Like I said, you guys can make yours whatever width you feel comfortable with. I'm gonna leave mine here. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and work on the teeth. Okay. So the teeth are right over here. Oh, but you know what happened when I did that? I didn't upscale my image with my teeth in it. So now my teeth are too small. Now I could try and let me go ahead and turn it another color. And let's just see if I can scale it and still make it fit. It's always the best way to do this. This is not the best way to do it, is to scale everything together so that everything stays in the right proportions. Because when you don't, as you can see what happens, it makes it a little bit harder to get it to go back the way that it's, you know, to fit like it's supposed to. So in order to not have to spend a lot of time messing around with that, I'm going to use my trusty undo, and I'm going to go back to the original size that my graphic was when we I got a bunch of undos. Okay, so that's where I was. I'm going to move that. And what I'll do is I'll just upscale it after I finish everything. That's probably the smarter way to go ahead and do it. So we have our teeth. So now we're going to go ahead and create the inset. Everybody's going to create the inset for their teeth. I'm just going to do mine. Like I said, I'm going to change the color so I can see it. Remove this line. Click on the offset. Click internal offset. Again, I get my 0.130 spacing. I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to click the rhinestone panel, and I'm going to use the radial fill again. Okay. And my spacing should be where it was from the last time I used it, 0.020. I'm going to turn my stones color white, and I'm going to go ahead and just move it and fit it in where it goes. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and move that out the way. And I'm going to turn the back of my media panel back gray so that I'll turn it a little bit lighter. So if you wanted to say, for instance, if you're working on a shirt and you want to simulate what the back of the image is going to look like, so you got a black shirt, you would turn your panel black. If you're working with a gray shirt, you could turn it gray. If you're working with like a heather gray shirt, which is a little bit lighter, right? You don't see an option under your media color for a lighter gray. But if you look over here and you see the tool, the circle with the plus, if you drag that, you see as you drag it into the areas, the lighter areas, it changes the background of your mat to a color that's a little bit lighter gray than the one on the palette. So this will give you just a better sense of what your image would look like behind a color t-shirt that looks like this. Okay, so I turned mine to gray just so that I could see it. And as it stands, like I said, I'd be pretty happy with, I mean, I'm not exactly it right now, it's small. So I'd want to, you know, upscale it a little bit so that I could get some more stones to fill in the spaces, you know, where you don't see any. But right now, we would be done, right? We would be done with this image, and it is a rhinestone template. But let's take it a little bit further. Okay, let's take it a little bit further, and let's say, because right, we could turn, well, the one thing I forgot to do, I'm sorry, let's go ahead and just turn on the rhinestone effect for that back layer. Just so that you can see it. And in this instance, we're going to use the edge. We're going to use the edge fill because we can't use the radial fill. Well, we could, and I'll click it. Okay. The hatch fill, which I don't like that. Okay. And then there's the outline, which kind of looks a lot like the radial because it's really, they're very similar. So either the radial, well, the radial, I see what happens. So the radial fill fills in that little piece right over here on the side that was just all black. You see right over here, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna turn the effect to none. So you see how we have this black area right here, right? If we click on the edge, it only puts the rhinestones around the edge of that part of the image. But if we click on the radial fill goes in and see how it fills in that area a little bit more with stones. So it's really going to be your preference as to what you would like to see, whether you want to have an edge like this or whether you want to fill those stones in. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine filled in. And what I'm going to do is at this point, I'm going to go ahead and upscale my image so that it looks a little bit better. So I'm going to zoom out for a little bit. And then I'm going to drag a box. I'm just going to go out here and I'm going to drag a box around the whole thing. And then I'm going to, from this corner, I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to keep dragging until I get to about 9 inches or so. Okay. So now I'm at 9 point, whoop. Sometimes it'll do that. Okay. So right now I'm at 9.843 by 11 by 425. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Okay, so now I'm at 9.317. Well, okay, now I'm at 9.244 by 10. Okay, machine. Now I think what's happening is sometimes when I start using too many resources at one time, my computer starts to lag and do these things right here. All right, let's go back. Yep. All right. Okay. Let's see if I can get it to go back because all right, I'm gonna work with mine and this. Well, let me see. I think I was trying to make it a little bit bigger. No, don't do this to me, little computer. Just work with me for a little while longer. Okay, let's see if it'll let me. Oh, come on, do that. All right, bear with me 1 second. Okay. Oops. Okay, so everybody's image kind of look like this. Got all your pieces filled in with your rhinestones. Okay, so like I said, right now, this could be our rhinestone template, you know, but I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna add a little bit more to it. So, and I'm gonna just, like I said, I'm gonna turn my media background black only because I like to be, I can see a little bit better. And I'm just gonna turn those stones that we made black, for the time being into like a gray color stone so that we can just kind of see it on the map. I don't like that one. Make it closer. Turn my lines on. Okay, so everybody can see that. So now I wanna give it a little bit more oomph, right? So what I want to do is I want to create another offset, okay? And I want to create another offset around the black part of the offset so that I can make those stones like maybe a crystal color stone, okay? So in order to do that, what we can do, and the neat thing about this is at this stage, we can actually do this with the rhinestone effect turned on so that you can see the stones. So even though I said I was going to make this black, I might need to make it a different color because I want you to see. Let's just turn it to a darker gray. I want you to be able to see something. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. Everybody can see that? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this back part of the design, and you can tell because over here on the right, you see in the fill panel, we have the black color selected. I'm going to go over here to the rhinestone panel. I'm going to click it, and excuse me, not the rhinestone panel. I'm going to click the offset. Okay, and this time I'm going to create an external. Well, it's just the offset, but it's the outside, and I call it external. But we're going to click this one that says offset. Okay, and you see how we get our spacing that said the 0.130. Everybody have their spacing at 0.130. Okay, and you see how it put those circles right along there. If you want to see them better, you can go ahead and turn on, just turn them white. Just turn mine white. Okay, but right now I'm in the reason it looks like this is because we're still in the rhinestone effect, right? And the rhinestone effect that we have turned on right the moment is the radial, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn it to the fill. Okay, everybody turn theirs to, so click the fill, the edge panel, and now we have our stones that are going around the outside of the black. Does everybody's look like that? Jackie says yes. Tracy's got a funky kind of look on her face right now, like I'm tired of you, Tanya. You ain't teaching me nothing. No. How about you, Francina? Yours look like that? Okay. Come on, Tracy. Unmute yourself. Tell me what you got going on. Unmute.
I think I am messed up because I was trying to make it small, and now it's kind of doing something crazy. So it's all funky. So
what do I say is our best friend when we mess up?
Undo.
Undo. So just go back to undo and take it back to the size that you were working on. And were you trying to make it even smaller than the 3.3?
No, but I did. It was, so when it was the 3.3, it started looking real, like my white dots were the teeth were just all over the outline.
It might be because when you tried to group it, you might not have grouped all of it together, and then when you started, messing with it, the teeth didn't go with the design. So sometimes when you see pieces of things that don't quite look like they're doing, it's because maybe they weren't selected. All of it didn't get selected when you started that process. So I would just go back to undo, start from the beginning, make sure I grab all my pieces. And then make sure that when you upscale, you always upscaling from those corner edges.
Okay, so right now it's at 4.7 and by 5.5, and that's
Mhm.
about, when I go any smaller than that, it distorts.
Yeah, and it's probably because, are you still set for your SS10 stones?
Mhm.
Yeah, I might,
I'm not sure. Let me see. Hold on a second.
because maybe if you change it to the if you're on SS10 and you change it to SS6, 6SS, it might look better. No,
I have it at 6.
6. Okay.
Mhm.
So sometimes, like I said, again, it's trial and error about what size you're going to be able to make your design.
Mhm.
Going really small, you know, like I said, you have to have smaller stones to be able to fit into that smaller space. The larger your design, the better your stones are going to fit proportionately to the design. So those are our limitations when we're working with rhinestones, is that we can't make the stones any smaller. We can't change the stone size.
Okay.
So the design has to be able to fit the size stones that you're using. Okay. So if everybody is where I am, and has this white outline around their image, they're probably saying, well, yeah, Tanya, I got the white outline around the image, but it's overlapping in places, and and why do we have the stones that are behind the teeth and all of that? So remember, when we created the outline, when we created the offset, it created the lines around the back piece of the design. So it's always going to give us the outline when we turn on the whichever fill pattern that we're using. And this is where sometimes, again, that manual manipulation, when we go to release the stones, is going to come into play. We're just going to remove those stones. Okay, we're going to remove those stones out of the way. We don't need them. But what we really want is this outline around the edges of our design. Does everybody at least like the way that that looks as a rhinestone shirt? Let's say I go ahead and I turn this color back to black so that we can really see how that pops. Go ahead, Tracy.
I have a question. So I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know how to do it. So what I did was I did the offset, right? Where I'm getting the white stones, but it did the whole inside is
Are
what.
you did you click the radial fill? Because that sounds like you have the radial fill selected.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you have the edge fill selected.
Okay, let me go back and see. No, I have the edge fill. That's crazy. I think. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not clicked on it. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me go back. I don't know what I did.
While Tracy goes back and she fixes the image, I show you. So again, here are teeth, right? You see how we have those overlapping stones over here where it created that offset, and that line, it followed the line of our design. So we're going to want to kind of remove those stones in there because they overlap with the ones that we've already created for the teeth. Okay. And I know you're saying, okay, well, Tanya, you have a little bit of overlapping here in your tongue, and you have a little bit of overlapping here in your lips. Now, I will say that, well, actually, so what happens, so now when we create this offset, it now kind of really, it made the internal offset that we created for the other way, the first way we had it, a little bit too big, right? Because remember, our spacing between our outline was set at that 0.130, okay? But then we created another offset, right? That So now we have another offset. We have this offset right here. And if we wanted to keep this, we're going to need to move that spacing. We're going to have to fix the spacing. Does that make sense? Right? So all we have to do is take this. So we're going to start with the lips. We're going to take the lips, just move them over here to the side for a minute. And we're just going to turn off the rhinestone effect. Okay, so you just go over here to your rhinestone panel, make the effect say none. Okay, we're going to create that same offset, the internal one, again. Okay, so I'm going to just turn my lips again to a color so you can see what I'm doing. I'll just turn it a little bit lighter, and I'm going to turn those lines off. Okay, and I'm going to click this one. I'm going to click the, excuse me, I'm going to click my offset. We're going to click internal offset. We're still at our 0,130. But I'm going to see if I can, let me see if I turn it down a little bit. Let's see if I make it 0.125. Let's see if I make it 120. I didn't, oops. Okay. Let me go back. I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna leave it at the 0.130. And I realized that when I do that, if you can see, you see how now we have our inset kind of, now we have these little 3 pieces, kind of like what we did the first time. We had 2 pieces, now we've got 3 pieces because that space got even narrower when we created when we created this inset, right? It made that space even narrower. So now we're creating another internal inset that makes the space even more narrow. But like I said, that is okay. If I just pull the gray part out of the way, I can then drag a box over those 3 pieces. I just do it that way. Oh, I don't want to select this gray. I'm just going to drag the box around those 3 pieces and group them together. And turn on the rhinestone panel, create that radial fill. I'm going to turn those stones red. And now, you see, everybody gets, now we've got our lips that fit in between the offsets that we've created. Did that work? Did you get there, Jackie? Do you have yours done? No? What happened?
I have, let's see, I have like 4 pieces. Wait a minute. Well, okay, so that little piece that's on the side, is breaking it up.
Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Wait a minute. I just noticed something. I didn't get my little piece over there on the side either. Maybe because it was too narrow.
Yeah.
It might have been just a little bit too narrow. But like I said, we could probably, we might be able to fit a stone or 2 in there. Like I said, the design that I did yesterday, it might be because when I had sized it originally in the beginning, it was wider. So I was able to get those stones in there to fit. But you might be able to, let me see, let's go back and go back to the original design. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see something. I need to move this out of the way so I can scroll my screen a little bit. Yeah, see that internal offset that I created, it's right here. You can see that, you see how this piece is so narrow? It's not going, you can't fit an SS10 stone. There's no way a stone is going to fit in this particular part of the area. That's why it didn't give me that option to fill in that space right there. So sometimes, like I said, think about this. And like I said, when you're working in your design, the process would be the same, right? The steps would not change. The only thing that would be different is that it might be such that when you're working with this particular image, and you can go back and do this as practice, scale your design up larger in the beginning, right? So that you kind of have those spaces wider in some areas, so that when you're creating these internal offsets, that you have the space needed or necessary to work with that. But the steps don't change. You will still
Right.
do the same steps. You'll just get a different effect because the graphic will be bigger.
So would we just ungroup it and just do the bigger part of the lifts as an internal offset and leave that side piece the same?
You could do, like I said, we could leave it as is, like say if I go back and I just go ahead and I say, okay, well, I didn't get that part of the lip, right? It was there before, but I really like having the two double outlines the way that this is. I might just say, I'll just sacrifice that because my lips are still over. I still get the stones over here that simulate my lips, right? And so I could leave it like that. Or like I said, if it really bothers me, it bothers me to the point where I'm like, no, I really want it to look like it did in the original design, then I'm known to have gone back all the way back to the beginning and start from scratch. If I want to be that particular about it, or sometimes I'll just say, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. I've already spent, an hour or 2 hours working on this design. I think it'll be fine. It's just for myself. I'll be okay with it, and leave it at that. So it's really up to your preference, how you want to ensure that, the design looks the way that you want. You'll either go back and make those changes, or you'll just commit to the design. But like I said, so let's just say I'm just gonna go ahead and commit to it because, like I said, I'm already there. So I'm just gonna use this as my internal offset. I'm just gonna make sure again to group these three pieces together. So I'm gonna do my group. And again, like I said, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna turn on the rhinestone panel and create that radial fill. And I'm going to turn the stones red, and I'm going to then just fit them back into the space where they belong. Okay. So it would look like that. And then the same thing with the tongue, because the tongue also needs to be a little bit smaller to fit inside the second set of stones that we created here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just go back to the rhinestone panel, and I'm going to turn the effect off so you can see it. And I'm going to move it out the way. I'm going to create that internal offset, and you can see it there. Turn the rhinestone panel on, turn on the fill, turn the color back to that pink, and then move those stones. And now they fit without overlapping.
What did you do?
So I did the same thing we did earlier. All I did was move the tongue out of place. So I'll go back and we'll do an undo. And you can follow along. So there's our tongue. Right. All I did was just turn the rhinestone. I turned the rhinestone effect off. Right. So we go to the rhinestone panel and make it say none. Okay. And then I just moved this out of the way. And then we created the internal offset. And our spacing was at our 0.130. And if you can see the little red, you see the red line?
Yeah.
Okay. Turn on the rhinestone panel and select that radial fill. So now we got our holes in there, and I'm just going to turn those holes back to the pink and then move that section and place it back in our tongue. Where you at, Tracy?
I'm still lost where the white outline is. I don't
And
know where I lost that part at.
what do you mean? The second outline that we created?
Mm-hmm.
So this one.
Yes.
Okay, so this outline got created when we created the offset around this black layer.
So what you did two?
No, I just did the one. So move your move your white layer out of the way, the one that you created.
I don't have a white layer.
So you don't have a white layer like this.
No, no, that's
You
what
just have the black layer.
Yes.
Okay, so you click on your black layer.
Okay.
Okay, and click on your offset panel.
Okay.
Okay, click offset.
Okay.
Your spacing should be the 0.130.
Uh-huh. Apply.
Click apply,
Uh-huh.
and then turn your stones white.
Okay.
But see, mine looks like this because the last effect that I had turned on was radial. Okay, I'm just gonna go see how the radial fill is selected. I'm gonna go ahead and change it to edge.
Maybe that's what's wrong then now, because mine doesn't look like that. It looks all messed up. Okay, so over to my rhinestone panel.
I dropped 36 points my first game.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, I was sitting there driving myself crazy. Okay.
Okay, so you there now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you good, Jackie?
Yes.
You are? Okay, good. I think
You
Frank's.
do something with the teeth already?
No, we
You
haven't done anything with the teeth yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, and the reason why we haven't done anything with the teeth yet is because the teeth as they stand are fine, right? Because what we're gonna do is once we release the stones, we're just gonna remove this part of the outline that's currently here for the teeth, and we're gonna put our other teeth in that spot.
Okay.
We don't need to make that, because if we make that internal offset, it's gonna get even more narrow, right? Like the other ones, and we're gonna start losing the shape of our teeth. So I'll show, so right now, where's my teeth? My teeth are over here. Technically, see, our teeth fit where we want them to fit. They just have those stones that are overlapping. So we'll just remove the stones. Rather than to sacrifice the sizing of this piece, we'll just remove those stones. And I'll show you how you do that. Okay. So we're gonna leave this piece. So now, everybody satisfied? Everybody like the way their design looks? Tracy, why are you shaking your head?
Because I'm still like my red part, the lips is overlapping the white.
Okay, but did you create the second internal offset?
What?
Because remember, we created the first one, right? The first internal offset that we created, we spaced it to size the black outline.
So can I do that with the rhinestone, or I need to turn the rhinestone panel off?
You can do it either way. It's just going to make it harder for you to see it.
Okay, let me turn it off then.
So if you go ahead and turn off the effects for the lips that you currently have set now, okay, and go in and create another internal inset and use that same spacing of that 0.130, you're going to get another outline, and it may be grouped into 2 or 3 or 4 different pieces, right? Because like I said, it's gotten a little narrow. But if it did, that's okay. Just drag your red off to the side, okay? And then drag your box around your outline, your inset, and group those pieces together.
I only have one piece of inset, which is the top lip part.
Oh, that's right, because your design is smaller.
Right.
So you're only going to get that spot, which, might be fine. As like I say, it might be fine. Or it may be that, again, when you're doing this design, if you want to have the red on the side, you may have to make that sacrifice, what I talked about earlier, which was to make your design bigger. But if you think you're gonna like that, let's just go ahead and turn the rhinestone panel on and click that radial fill and fill in those stones, turn them red, and fit them back into that space.
Okay, so why I keep having all these different teeth?
You're gonna have the overlap for the teeth because when we created that second offset, it also created the line, the edge fill around the line that was there from the original one. This is where we're going to go in, and once we release the stones, we're going to remove those stones so that there won't be an overlap when we put the teeth back in.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So everybody there, how about you, Francine? I know you had to step away for a minute. You're good? Okay, you're muted, but I see you shaking your head. Okay. So now, if everybody is happy, right? Now we get to the fun part. If you didn't think we were having fun before, we're getting to the fun part. So now what we're going to start doing, we're going to, start releasing these rhinestones, right? And I'm going to go ahead and start with the, well, I'm going to do, let's see. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to start with the pink because the pink is a nice big layer. So if we go ahead and we click on the pink, if we look at our rhinestone panel, we see that we're at SS10. Okay. Well, and the other thing I'd like you to go ahead, let's just go ahead and see what it would look like. Everybody go ahead and just click on their design and change their SS10, your 10SS to 6SS. So click the 6SS. It's going to make your stone smaller. And go ahead and do that for the whole design. Just go ahead and click in all of the different areas. Click the red, and we're going to change it to 6. And we're going to click the white, and we're going to change it to 6. And we're going to click the black, and we're going to change it to 6. Okay. See how when you use a smaller stone, how much more of a defined image you start getting, right? It just looks a little bit more clean looking. I don't know if it's clean is not really the word I'm looking for, but more detailed, right? It just looks a little bit more detailed when you use the smaller stones. So if you have 6 SS stones, right, you can create this template for 6 SS and stone it that way. If you want to just change certain parts of the design to 6 SS, maybe you don't have a lot of 6 SS stones. I don't have a lot of 6 SS stones. I have the majority of stones that I have are 10s. And I do have some 6 SS crystal in the AB and in the regular crystal. So maybe what I would do is I say, okay, I like how that smaller stone outline looks around my bigger image. So maybe I would just leave my outline in the white and the teeth. I forgot about the teeth over here. I probably would go ahead and turn them into a 6 SS. Now, keep in mind, we haven't removed those other stones yet, so we're going to see the overlap, but this is just so that you can kind of just get a visual. I would go in here and make those 6 SS, leave my outline as a 6 SS, but I might come back because I don't have black 6 SS stones, so I'll come back and make that a 10, and I'll come back in the red because I don't have those in 6 SS and make them 10s, and the same thing with the pink. I'll go ahead and make that 10. So you can create a design that has the multiple size stones if you wanted to, if you had them available to you. Because a lot of times what you'll see is sometimes when you buy pre-made templates or transfers, sometimes you'll see where the transfers have different size stones in them. And people do this because they use the smaller stones to fill in those areas where we have that spacing. But you have to have the stones when you create your template in order to brush them in. So if you have them and you want to be able to do that, you can do that in your template creation. If not, just leave everything as the 10SS and work with what you got. Okay. So I'm going to make mine, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to go ahead and leave everything as the 10, as a 10 SS. So I'm going to go ahead and move my, I'm just going to move my teeth out for a minute. And like I said, we're going to start releasing the rhinestones. So the first layer I'm going to work with is the pink. Okay. when we click on the pink, if you are going to be creating templates for people, you might want to write down how many stone count there is in each of your layers, so that when you're creating the template, the mock-up of it, you can tell people exactly how many stones they're going to need when they go to create their template. If it's just for you and you really don't care, you got plenty of stones, there's no need to write it down, okay? But the system will tell you exactly how many stones you currently have before you release them. Because once you release them, if you start changing things, you start adding or removing stones, of course that number changes, but this is where we are currently. So right now, if you look down here under this button that says release rhinestones, it tells us under 10SS, we have 941 stones just for the pink, okay? And I'm happy with what I see right now. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna click the button that says release rhinestones. We're gonna wait for the system to do what it does. And then once it releases all the rhinestones, you know, it puts the little box around all of the circles, okay? Now, at this point, if I were satisfied with the placement of all of these stones, I'm not gonna try to make any adjustments or anything. At this point, I could right-click with my mouse and group all of those stones together, okay? And then after I group those stones, I would then come back and I would make those stones a compound path. And when you make them the compound path, that means that they all stay together. And when you import this design over into Cricut Design Space, if that's what you're using to cut, then all of those stones will come over together. They won't get all scattered. You know how when you open up Cricut Design Space and people don't group things or attach them together, they open up and when you send them to the Mac, they all come out in a straight line. Well, we don't want that to happen. So in order for that to happen, we have to create and make them the compound path, okay? But let's just say, for instance, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I want to see if I can fit a stone, you know, in this spaces where, you know, there are some gaps. So right now, with the stones released, all I have to do is click in any area. And now each of these stones are their own individual stones. So as you can see, I can click on a stone. I'm going to zoom that in a little bit so you can see. I can click on it. You see, you can't barely see it, but they put a box around it. But each one of these stones, I can move it and it just moves that one stone. I'm going to go ahead and put that one back. So let's say I want to see whether or not, oh, hold on there. Put that back. Okay. I say, oh, well, this space right here looks like I might could fit a stone in there. Maybe I can fit one. So you can do two things. You can, over here on your rhinestone panel, you see the button that says freehand, right? See it says freehand here. If you click freehand, oh, wait a minute now. You might not see it because I got this background is black. Let me go ahead and turn this black. Let me go ahead and turn my media back to white so you can see. Because somewhere I know when I click freehand, it created a stone. I know it did. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back, go back again. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn my media panel. Well, actually, I'm going to turn my media panel to another color, like, oh, not yellow. Oh, not yellow. We'll just make it, we'll make it gray. Gray works. See, there it is. There's when I click freehand, see that one little dot that came up? If I do it again, I go back to the rhinestone panel and I click freehand. Where did it go? It went somewhere. And you click. So I'll do it one more time so you can see. You click freehand. When you bring your mouse back to the design mat, you see how you have crosshairs? You have like a little plus. When you click on that plus, it'll drop a stone. Okay. If you wanted to drag, let's say you wanted to make a bunch of edits and you don't want to have to keep clicking freehand, you can click freehand, place the mouse on the design mat, click and drag, and you'll get a bunch of stones. Okay. And when you let go, then each of those stones, it'll be a whole group of stones, but all you have to do is ungroup them And then you'll have a bunch of stones that you can work with on your mat. Okay, you can do that.
So those stones, excuse me, so those stones that you just created freehand, and you ungroup them, you can take one at a time and drop them in the place where you want. Okay.
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
So that's one way to create and put stones on your mat. Okay, the other way that you can do that is just to click on the stone. So I'm going to just zoom this in just a little bit so you can see. Scroll that down a little bit. Oops, move that over. You can go and you can click on, so we've released these pink stones, right? I could click on an individual stone. I'm gonna click on that stone right there, but when you click on things, you know, they have the tendency to move. So you want to be careful when in this stage, because if you start clicking and things start moving and you're not paying attention, you could put a stone in a place that you don't necessarily want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click my undo, and I'm going to try to gently click on this stone just so that it's selected. And then you can right click with your mouse and duplicate. Okay, and when you click duplicate, it will duplicate that stone, the color and everything. Okay, so you don't have to worry about changing your stone color or anything like that if you duplicate the same color stone. So it created a stone. So now I have this stone and I say, okay, can I place it like right in here? And look at that. I can. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to be very precise. You want to zoom in as close as you can, and you want to see if that stone that you just placed, if there's enough space on either side of it or around it from the other stones. Okay, and as you can see, we can pretty much get one more stone in there, right? I think I would feel good about putting this stone here. So the next question comes, can I get another one, right? How far can I push the envelope? Can I get another stone to fit in this space right here? So I'm going to do it again. Since I'm already in this area, I'm going to click on a stone and I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit duplicate, and then that stone pops up and I'm going to see if I can fit it in there. And lo and behold, I can fit another stone in there. Okay. So now I say, okay, can I get another one? So we keep repeating that process. Clicking the stone, we can click duplicate. We can see if we can fit that one in there. And one fits, but as you can tell, the more closer up we get, as that space gets more narrow, we start losing the amount of space that we have between those stones. So now we say, okay, can I get one more? And this one is a little close. If you can see, I'm gonna try and zoom in a little bit closer. Okay. So you see how we start getting where the spacing, see how this spacing is a little bit wider? But over here where I added this stone, you see it's narrow on this edge. It's narrow on this edge. This stone we're cutting it close. Okay. What we can do is we do have some space over here. We could click on this stone, and using our arrow key, I'll arrow over to the left a little bit, just one click, arrow over. Maybe I can click one more, arrow over, maybe one more, arrow over, arrow up a little bit, and just to create a little bit of extra space in between those stones. Okay, and this is where the tedious work comes in when you're fine-tuning your rhinestone template. Okay, but you can do this. You can either leave it as is, the way the system created it for you, or you can come in and you can make these manual edits. Okay, so we've added a stone here. Can we add one more? Let's see. We duplicate. Try to fit that stone. Okay. Now you see what we're coming up against over here? When you click on this stone and you try to add it, it's just too much. It's too close. You see how it's touching over here? And it's touching over here almost. When you go to try to cut that on your flock, that flock is going to rip because you don't have enough space. It's going to cut right over the top of the next hole. Now, what you can do, and this is what Tracina is going to try and do, I already know, she's going to get in there and she's going to start taking that stone above it and she's going to start moving it. And she's going to get it out of the way. And she's going to do one like that. And she's going to come over here and she's going to move this other one and she's going to move it out of the way. because she's going to want to make that stone fit. And you can do that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just picking on her because she's my friend and she knows I love her. But just keep in mind, when you start shifting your stones, I'm going to zoom out so that you can see. Oh, right now, when the system created it, it tried to keep all your stones kind of in line and following each other and so forth and so on. But when you start moving them, you start kind of moving those lines out of place. So you're just going to have to decide whether or not you're going to be happy with that, or if you want to keep the symmetrical look of your template the way it was, the system created it. There's nothing to say that you can't do it and start moving stones so that you can create and add and fill in spaces. And so you can do that. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't. But just keep in mind, like I said, that you want to make sure that you ensure that you have enough space between your stones before you send your template to the machine to cut. So at this point, I would start looking at this area and see if I see any stones that look like they could be overlapping. And I already see, like right in here, these two stones are pretty close together. And then over here on this left side, I see some stones that are pretty close together. So I'm just going to zoom in, and everybody do that with theirs, is just go ahead and start looking at your areas and seeing if you see any stones that look like they need to be moved so that you can ensure that you have enough space between them. So I'm going to move this, for me, I'm going to kind of move this one over a little bit, and I might move it up. And that might be the only one that I really need to move. But in doing so, I see that, ooh, if I move this stone, move it down, right? I can move this one down. And guess what? That gives me enough space to go ahead and fill in one more stone. Look at that.
Tanya,
Yes.
Another shortcut, and you might, and I'm quite sure you already know this.
Well, I might not. I might not.
What I do is I click on the stone and hit my Alt key and hold it down and drag over. And
Okay.
drag one over.
You drag one over. Okay, so let's see. I have not done that, but I do know that that feature exists. So let's go, and I'm going to zoom out a little and see if there are any other pink area where I could add a stone. Okay, let's go right up in here, in this little section right here, right? So looks like I could move this stone a little ways, right? If I wanted to say I want to put a stone right in here in this little corner, right? So I'll move this one out because I got plenty of space. So I'll move that one out a little bit, and I'll go ahead and try your method. You said, click on my stone.
And hit the Alt key.
Hit the Alt key. And then you said drag. Look at that, ladies. Look at that. See how we're teaching each other something today? That's why I love these types of classes, and that's why I love to work with folk, because like I said, I'm no expert. I don't know everything, and I do things the way I do them and how I learn them. But I learn something, like I said, every time I work in this software, I learn something new every day. So that is a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jackie. So again, everybody got that? You can click on your stone, hold your Alt key, and then just drag a stone. Just drag.
And you can do that with any image or anything that you want to duplicate.
Okay. Rather than hitting rather than doing right click and then clicking the duplicate over here on the panel. Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So are there any more stones that I want to fix over here in this pink area? Yes, I got this over here where these stones look a little bit too tight. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see it a little bit clearer. Uh-oh. And right in here, see my stones are really close. So I'm gonna just move my stones out of the way. You may not have stones that are close like this, but if you do, you go ahead and make those adjustments now, so that when we get ready to group these and make them the compound path, we're done. So I'll just keep scrolling. I can see this is probably okay in this little area right here, but I'm just gonna go ahead because I see I do have some room, and I'm just gonna make some more room available right there. And let's see if I got anywhere else. I think all of that in there look good. So and see there's spacing in here. Can I get a stone in this area right here? Probably not, right? Unless I start making more adjustments. And I don't want to make any more adjustments. I'm tired of working in the pink area. That's how I am. And I think that this looks fine. But like I said, again, probably if I shifted this stone and move this over here like this, and then move this one down like that, and then move this one over there like this. Okay, I'm going to use Jackie's tip. Click and Alt and move. And not really. Not really. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it because I don't want to mess it up. And I might just go ahead and do my undo so that my spacing that was already there stays. So I undid all of that. I'm going to zoom back out. And I think I'm satisfied with my pink stones. Okay. So once you're satisfied with your pink stones, the next thing we're going to do is we want to go ahead and make that a compound path, because if we start moving other things, and we might potentially move these stones out of place, and we don't want to do that. So since we've already released the stones, okay, we can go over here to our panels. Under this toolbar over here where it says panels, we can click on that, and we're going to click on the one that says select by color. Okay, so when you click select by color, then you can come over here and the panels will open over here on the left, and we're going to click the one that says by fill. Okay, now the one thing that I do want to say is that if you have anything else on your mat, okay, when you do this, it's going to select all of the colors that are the light color that are on the mat. So I see how I have this little pink stone right out here. When I go to select by color, it's going to group that stone. So I don't want it to group that. So I'm going to make sure that I don't have anything else on my mat. So I'm just going to drag those out of the way, drag a box around them and move that out of the way. And I'm going to move this one out of the way. And I'm just going to move this. I don't need this anymore. I'm going to move. So now the only thing I have on my mat are just the stones themselves. Okay. So now if I go back and I click the by fill, it's going to open up the colors that it sees on the page. Okay. So I'm going to select, you can scroll down and see if there are any other colors, but here's my pink. I'm going to click on the pink. And when I do that, you see it selects all of those stones. You can right click and click group. It'll group all of those stones together. Give it a minute. Okay, now all our stones are grouped together because there are no more individual boxes. You can right click again and make it a compound path. Okay, so it's 2 steps. Let's group the stones together and make them a compound path. Those 2 things always have to follow each other once you've released your rhinestones. Group, make compound path. Okay, and then when you do that, it will often change the color back to that default color. And you can go back and just open your fill panel and change the color back to the pink. If you want to leave it pink, you can do that. Oh, I got to click it and turn it pink. And why did this one stone not turn? Let me go back. I got to figure that out right quick. Hold on a second. Sometimes when you add things, oh, I know why. Let's see. Well, that is the stone color. Let's see. This is kind of same issue we had last night, Tracy. Remember with our white stones?
Yeah.
I had to go back and figure out why it didn't choose that color. Okay, that's the color. It should be the same color as the other one. Should be. Let's try it again. Panel, select by color. Okay, look like maybe it did it this time. I'll right click, whoop. And make compound path. It did it again. All right, I'm not gonna belabor over that. The stone is there. Let me do something else.
Once we make it a compound path, are we supposed to put the line color to none?
You can. The line color, like I said, it's just it's annoying to me, right? Because when I want to look at the design, I don't necessarily want to see the red outline around those things, so I turn it off. But it doesn't impact anything.
Okay.
It doesn't impact anything. So that stone is driving me crazy, but I'm not gonna I'll figure it out. It's because I know it's because that's one that I added. But so I'm just gonna leave the line color on so that you can just see that that stone is there. It will cut. But anyway, so we've done the pink. Go back. We've done the pink. I'm gonna zoom back out. So the next thing we would do is we would do our red, okay? So we go in, we're gonna click the red. We go back to our rhinestone panel, and it says we currently have 297 red stones. That's how many I have. Like I said, yours will be different depending on the size of your image. But I'm gonna head and release those rhinestones. And we definitely don't want to release all the rhinestones at one time, right? This allows us to be able to work in sections so that we don't necessarily, because if we released all the rhinestones at one time, when we get ready to try to group everything back together, if we had multiple colors of red on the screen, right, we might not, or, you know, it's just easier to work in small sections. That way we don't mess up anything. At least that's my take on it. Okay, so we've released these rhinestones, and I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, see if I want to add some stones right here, right? Because I want to go ahead and see and fill this area in. So we're gonna go ahead and I like Jackie's tip, so I'm gonna wait a minute, no, shift, click, alt, drag, and click, and keep doing that until I get my stone. Oh, that's a lot faster method. Thank you. I am liking that. Okay. I do like that. Now, we can keep this line as it's going currently, or we could try to angle them and get more stones in there. That's going to be up to you. It's a preference, right? But I am going to create and add one more stone right here, just to go ahead and fill out that line. And what I'm going to do is just go back in here, zoom in a little bit, and make those little manual adjustments, right? So I know I can kind of shift that stone out a little bit. I can shift this stone out. That gives me more space to put this stone. I can probably shift out a little bit more. Move that, move that. Let me go ahead and get another stone in there. Look at that. Okay. Could I play with this spacing in here? Yeah. But for time's sake, you know, you get the idea. You can make those adjustments. Oh, look at that. There was a stone on top of there. Glad I saw that, because otherwise we wouldn't have go cut it. We would have had two stones in that spot. So I'm gonna line that up a little bit. Okay, so now I look at this particular area over here, right? And I'm like, let's see. Let's just start at the bottom. Okay, so here I could get a stone, and I could shift and put a stone there. I might can get two stones in there. Get a stone there. and get another one and put it there. And then make some adjustments, right? And then we start looking at, you know, can we get, you know, we start doing something like that, you know, we could do that, maybe add some more stones. So as you can see, you know, we can start playing with that a little bit, maybe get another one, widen that out a little bit, get another stone. Okay, so we're getting some, we can do this, but let's say we didn't want to make all of those adjustments. We don't want to keep moving. Like I say, I think with time we're permitting, right? I would probably go in here and angle these stones kind of like on an angle, right? Because you can see you have more space. If you angle them, you could probably get 3 stones on the row and go up, and then that would fill in that space better here. We would get more stone definition in this area if we made those manual adjustments. I just kind of like move this stone up over here, move that stone over there, and see now I can add those stones here in the middle. To make it easier, like I said, to make it faster, if you did want to do that, right, you could select this stone, hold your shift key, and just keep clicking those stones, right? Jackie might already know this. Keep clicking those stones. Do like that. Just keep clicking. Click all the way as far as we could go. This is about as far as I can see in my window. And just drag those stones over to the, just drag them over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you could come back and do the same thing with these ones here on the bottom. Jackie, you have your hand raised?
No.
Okay. Do that. Move those down.
Now, after you click all of those, and when you move them down, while they're still selected, do your Alt, and then that'll give you another row.
Oh, wait a minute. You said while they're selected.
While they're selected,
hold wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I also see where I missed one.
Oh,
I missed this one right here. You see there's no box around that stone right there. So let me go ahead and hold my shift key and select it. And now you're saying if I hold my Alt key and drag,
yeah.
I'm gonna drag that out there for a second because I should have dragged the other one first.
Right. After you move the first ones back.
Yep. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna select my shift key again so I can get that stone. And then I'm gonna click my Alt. No, I'm gonna just move my stones out of the way.
Right.
And then once I get them where I want them to go, I'm gonna hold my Alt key and I'm gonna drag like Jackie said. Maybe we should let Jackie teach the class. I think we're learning more from Jackie than we're learning from me.
We learning from you.
Okay, but look how easy that was. Wasn't that great? I mean, that really did simplify the adjustment of adding extra stones without having to click. So this has been a time saver. And like I said, a wonderful, wonderful tip. I'm so glad that she taught us this today. But as you can, so now we can, you know, we have some manual kind of adjustments that we want to make just to kind of line them up a little bit. But that's really easy, right? We just go and click on each of those stones and just put them where we want them to go.
Right.
And we'll make those adjustments. Okay, everybody happy with that? What about you? What you got going on, Francina?
Oh, I'm happy with it. I'll just shake my head yes.
Okay. What about you, Tracy? Tracy? Where'd she go? Tracy?
I'm here. I'm here.
Where are you? Are you where we are, or did you get?
Yes, I'm still putting my stones in, and I'm selecting by color.
You may okay.
And by feel. So.
Okay.
Now, once we do by feel, then we go back and group it.
Yes.
And then make compound paths. Do we do it each color?
Yeah, we're gonna work by color.
Okay.
Yeah, by color. Okay. All right, so I'll make a few more. So I got a few more adjustments in here that I could make. Just to get, like I said, just to get as many stones in there as possible to make that area look good. I won't be, like I said, we know how to do this now, so I'm not going to continue to stay in this red area. But if you wanted to, after we're finished with class and you have your design, you can go keep making those edits to your preference. Because like I said, once we have the holes, we can always manipulate the holes, right? We can always move those. We can make those adjustments as we want before we actually cut our template. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that like that for the time for now. And I'm going to go ahead and do our group by color, just so that we group those stones together. So we go back to our panels, select by color. The by fill is already selected because that was the one we used last. Find our red, and you see what happened? You see I left that red dot on my mat and it selected that dot. If I group that together right now, it's going to group that red dot with the other red dots, and I don't want that. So let me go ahead and move that dot off the screen and then redo it. So select by color, select my red, right click, group, and make that compound path. And then I'm just going to go back and just turn those stones red. Okay. So now so we have our black layer that we want to work with. And and the steps would be the same. So we click on our black layer. We come over here to our rhinestone panel. We would write down how many stones we have, which is 701. We release the rhinestones. But before, you know what? I want to teach you ladies something. And you may already know this is something that me and Tracy did last night in the class that we were in. We wanted to add a little something to our design, right? Other than just the rhinestones. And I'm going to post this picture later. But we added the word "what's up" to our image, right? And so I want to show you how we did that, right? I want to show you how we did that. So has anybody, have either of you worked where you added text and then had the text be on the path? So
Yes.
that, say for instance, you had your circle, right? And you add your text so that it goes arced.
Yes.
So you know how to do that?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to just show you really quickly. I'm going to just show it on the video, but we'll go through it really quickly. So I won't, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit undo. And what I learned last night was I had to do it on the black layer in order for it to do it properly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this effect off so that I have just the black outline. Okay. And I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit and move some of this stuff out of the way. And move some of this stuff just out of the way. Okay. So I can move this out for a minute. So here's my layer here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my font panel, my text panel over here, text over this A. And I'm going to go ahead and type out the word, "what's up?" And we came up with WHATZUP. What's up? Okay. And I'm going to, scale that out just a little bit where I think it would fit. And where I'm going to put it, I want to put it, well, where we put it last night, we put it over here on this side of the tongue. That's where we put ours. But, we tried to put it over here, but there just wasn't enough space on the path for all of it to fit at the size that we had it at. So this is why we ended up over here. But, you go here and I turned mine into rhinestones. If you wanted yours to be vinyl, you could do that. If you wanted it to be glitter, you could make it whatever you wanted, right? We even said we could do it with flock. We talked about a lot of things last night, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it rhinestone since we're making a rhinestone template. So I'm going to click on my WhatsApp and I'm going to go over here to my font panel the text style panel is what it's called. But click on our A. And I have a font on my in my system called Northfleet Sketch 2. Okay. I got this font out of Creative Fabrica. So if either of you have a subscription to Creative Fabrica, you could go ahead and download the Northfleet 2 font. I'm gonna, because it is a Northfleet, type it in. It comes as a Northfleet Sketch 1 and a Sketch 2, I think, or something like that. But anyway, I use the darn it, where did it go? I use the Northfleet Sketch 2 because it is like a pencil line. You see how it kind of turned that font very narrow? And that's kind of what you call like a pencil line or font. And this particular font works really, really well for creating straight line font in Rhinestone. And it's really, and it's scalable. What's one of the other things that I like about it is that, you know, you can't get too small, but you can get small. And of course, the larger you make it, the better it looks, but it also looks good as you shrink it down to make it small. So I'll show you right now, if I go ahead and I turn on the Rhinestone panel and turn on the edge fill, you see how it still looks like the word what's up in rhinestones. I'm probably going to go here and space this out, just character spacing. So go to the font, the text panel, and go into the character spacing and just space it out just a little bit. Maybe 105, 110, 110, something like that. I'm at 115, and maybe I bring it back down to 115. And what I would do is if I were happy with that, when it's all said and done, you know, you can scale it. If I scale it by the corners, see the bigger it is, the better it starts looking. But like I said, it's still a good font, even at a smaller setting. If we scale it this way, you know, we get some height here, which kind of gives us a few extra stones, you know, but I'm going to leave it, you know, like kind of right where it was. And I'm going to first see whether or not it fits. I think it might be a little bit too big. See if it fits in that, on that path. So, you know, you click on this. Let's go ahead and turn it back to its original here where it says what's up, just the original here. And, you know, when you click on it and you double click, you get the box with the anchor. And so you grab your anchor and you try to, you know what happens here. This is the part that you have to fight with sometimes to get it where you want, but there it goes. We got it on the path and we're going to drag it out, and it might be too big. Let's see. We get it. Oh, that fits. Right? So we got it to fit. No, what happened? Tracy shaking your head.
Yeah, how are you getting it to do that? You clicked on that little.
So you click on the anchor. So let's go back. I'll do undo.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You double click twice.
Okay.
Okay, when you double click twice, you get the little anchor here.
Uh-huh.
Grab the anchor and you drag it towards the part of the path that you're trying to follow. See, I just kind of just dragged it. When I was here, I was a little in. I just dragged my cursor out and it set it on that part of the path, part of the path. And then you just hold with your mouse and you just drag. You kind of just, you know, try to drag it where you want it to go. Okay. And it's a trial and error kind of thing, you know, but there we go. Now, once you do that, you know, we don't want it to be right here on the outline, because when we turn our rhinestones back on, then we're going to have overlapping stones. So if we use our little scale toolbar here, this little piece right here, this will scale it out, or this will scale it in. Okay. So just,
it's a little scale.
You see that little sliding toolbar? You see it sliding right there? A little slider. So if you scale it out, it goes away from your path. If you scale it in, it gets closer or towards the inside of the path.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm going to scale it out to about here, because I know if I click on, once you click off of it, now it's on the path, right? Right now it's following the path that we put it on. If I click here and turn this back on to our fill. Well, I'm sorry. I forgot. In order for it to stay, we have to convert it. We have to convert the text to the path, right? So we have to convert, because right now it's still, it looks like it is, but it's still its own standalone text until we convert it. So I think I'm happy with the placement of where it is. All you have to do is right click with your mouse and click convert to path.
Convert to path. Okay.
Okay. Once you click convert to path, now see what's up is no longer, if you double click on it, you see how you don't get the anchor anymore? I'm double clicking and it doesn't change because we have converted it to the path that we wanted it to follow. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put it back where it was. And when we go ahead and now we click our outline and we turn on that edge fill, we get our stones there. And when we click on our WhatsApp and we click it and we turn it on, now we have our WhatsApp over here. So here's another way to just kind of embellish your designs a little bit if you want to do things like that, you know, rather than to, you know, create your straight line across the bottom or things like that. Just, you know, you're just doing something different. Go ahead, Francina.
What if you wanted to make the letters 3 rows each?
Well, we really don't have enough space along the path to make them 3 rows each, remember? Because you could try that. You could try using a font that would give you the 3 rows and see if you could get it to fit.
Oh, so every font doesn't give you?
No.
It's just certain fonts.
Right, because the wider the font,
Okay.
the more stones that can fit in that space.
Okay.
But we were working with a pencil. We were working with this pencil line font that was very narrow, so it's only going to give us probably that one row.
Okay, gotcha. Understand.
Okay.
So to
not,
convert, I'm sorry, to
no, go ahead.
convert the WhatsApp, you have to choose WhatsApp and the outline and do convert to path.
Right, and I chose the black outline because last night when I tried to use the outer one to do it, it wanted to put the path on the inside of this this inside piece. And I couldn't get it to put it on the outside, so I chose the black one. Which actually the black one actually works better because when I go back and oh darn. When I put that back in and just put that out there like that, you know, it kind of, you know, I just put that in there like that. And let me just turn this, let me turn these white.
Sorry, do it again.
Okay.
You chose the WhatsApp and your tongue.
I chose the black part here.
Uh-huh.
Remember this piece right here?
Uh-huh.
I chose this one and I had it follow the path along this edge of the outline.
Right. So, but once you had it to follow that path, did you choose WhatsApp and the outline and it converted to path?
Yes, and the
WhatsApp.
The WhatsApp is the part that converted to path because once I converted it to the path, they became two separate pieces.
Got you.
They don't stay attached anymore. They become each one becomes its own individual part of the graphic. You want me to go back and show you again?
Well, when I did it and I put my WhatsApp on the inside of the tongue, and when I selected the word and the outline and converted to path, it didn't put it in along the path. So maybe I should have put it on the outside.
Yeah, probably put it on the outside because that's where you're going to have the most room for it to be able to do it anyway, you know. And you know, when you're converting things to the path, you know, you're going to have to kind of sometimes play around with the sizing of the font before you convert it to the path. Because as you try to drag it, you know, it just turned out that this one was sized appropriately, that we got it all to fit. But if it had been larger, you know, it might wanted to put the P up more closer to where the lip is, and that wouldn't have looked very good, and you know, and such. And so you just kind of have to play around with it. This is not something that you have to do, but like I said, Tracina and I were playing around with this last night, and this is what we came up with. And when we finished the image, we thought it looked really good. Actually, I'll show you what mine looks like. Open.
It's not converting. Mine is not converting to the path because it'll make it straight again.
Okay, let's go back and I'll do it again.
I have a question right quick, Tanya. On the WhatsApp, will it, you know how I did on my shirt, the black, I made it the flock. Okay, so I wanted to do the WhatsApp on the flock, flock for mine.
Okay.
Will it cut one piece or do I have to cut it 2 pieces?
If you group those 2 pieces together, then you will cut as 1 piece.
How would I do that?
You would just, okay, I'll show. So let's just say okay. So here's our layer, right? Here's our black layer, and here's our WhatsApp. So this is for first for Jackie's benefit. So we're gonna double click, right? Get our anchor, and then we're gonna try to position that on the edge. And then I'm just gonna while I'm still holding my mouse, I still got it clicked. I'm holding it. I'm just dragging it out,
right,
so that I can get it to get that peak.
Tanya, I'm gonna tell you this. My son said we spell what's up wrong.
Well, how are we supposed to spell it?
It's WHA''ZUP.
I'll tell him to go away. Damn millennials always trying to take a darn shortcut. Okay, you know what? Because which one of it was it?
Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan with his can't drive self. Let me. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that right quick, right? Let's come on now. Okay, so he said it's supposed to be, hold on a minute.
WA''ZUP.
Okay, well, you see,
take the T out.
But you see what happens in this particular font? I don't get an apostrophe.
Oh, you don't?
Well, this particular font doesn't. I can make it work.
Okay,
like
that's because you have it all in caps. So uncap it.
But I don't want it to be lowercase.
But
this font is only uppercase.
Oh, okay.
You know, some fonts don't, are only one way. So this font is only an uppercase font, but that's okay. Because you know what? Once we convert it to the rhinestone, we can make an apostrophe, right? We can add the stones if we need to, or take away stones if we. Okay. So WhatsApp. Okay. What do you ladies think? You like it this way? Does it look more like WhatsApp? I think it looks more like WhatsApp like that, right? All right. So we're gonna do that. So we got our anchor. We're gonna go back and we're gonna anchor that onto the path. And you know what? It actually is better because we probably have one less letter that we have to try to fit on the path. I'm gonna just keep dragging it till I get it where I want it to go. And I think I'm happy with that. You guys happy with that? So then I'm gonna let it go. Okay. Now, like I said, right now it's on the path. It's on the outline of but that's not gonna fit. I mean, that's not gonna work for us because when we go to turn this back into the rhinestones, they're gonna be overlapping. So I'm gonna use my scale right here, this little scale bar, and I'm gonna go drag it away from the line. I'm gonna drag it away like this. And I'm gonna sit it out there like that. Okay, everybody do that? And then once you do that, you got it now, Jackie? Did it come out? It did? Okay. So now when you right click, you go ahead and you convert to path. And when you convert to path, now the WhatsApp is gonna be on that path. But they're not attached. But we can attach them because all we have to do is it's already selected. We can either hold the shift and click that layer and group. Okay. Now, Tracina, this is for your benefit.
Okay.
Right? Now they're grouped together. Okay. So now when you cut this on your flop, it'll cut just like that.
So what if when I did mine, I wish I could show you my screen.
You can. I'm gonna stop sharing mine for a minute. And
Okay.
let's go ahead and look and see what you got going on.
Okay. Let's see.
And I need to message somebody, let them know I'm not gonna
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna be able to meet them.
Can you see my screen now? No.
Yes, ma'am. But I see your Cricut screen. Oh, wait a minute. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I see.
what?
I see you. I see you.
No, I was trying to get that off of there, but
Oh, okay. So you left yours and you picked the font. Now you picked you left yours lowercase. Okay.
yes. So, okay, so I just moved. I mean, I just did this around
Uh-huh.
here. So how can I group it? Can I not group it?
Okay,
Like
so you already converted it to the path?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so just click on WhatsApp. Okay, now hold the shift key and kick that black layer
Oh,
and then group.
now.
Right click and group.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now it's one piece.
Yep. And if you move it, you'll see it's all one piece.
Okay, great. Okay.
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 All right.
Good, good, good. Okay.
All right. So stop sharing your screen. I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen.
All right.
And which one was I in? Over here. Share. Okay. So so where we are, and I'm just gonna go ahead, like I said, and just put that back. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my rhinestone layer back on. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. And there it is. Okay. Now I group mine to the black. Now, like I said, you don't necessarily have to change your color stones, on your screen. As long as you know what color you want your stones to be, it doesn't matter, right? So technically, I mean, if I really wanted to see what this looked like, I would ungroup it so that I could have this be separate, so I could change these stone colors to white and leave these as black. Because right now, I group the two together, so they're both they're grouped together. And if I change the color for one, it's going to change the color for both. So if I go in here and I change the fill panel and I made this black, then it's going to make my letters black. But that's okay for these. That's okay too for right now. So as you can see though, you see what it did with my font, what it did with the apostrophe. You see how it just kind of made it those little three stones right there. When I go in here and I release these black stones, which we actually had done that, but I'm gonna release these blacks. Oh no, I didn't release these black stones. Okay, so now the black stones are released. All I'm gonna do is come in here and just remove that one stone. I might actually take that one stone and stick it over there just so that it, I guess it tries to make it look like an apostrophe. That's not really in the right place because I can't really see. Hold on a second. Line that up. Move that over. Line that up. Move that down. Okay, and then I'm almost thinking like, apostrophe should sit out a little bit further, right? I want to make that look like apostrophe. So I just kind of grouped all the stones together and I'm just sliding them up a little bit just so that it kind of mimics the apostrophe. Maybe. Let me scale it back down. What do y'all think? I know I'm not quite.
Bring the apostrophe down a little bit.
You think I should put it back the way it was? Okay.
No, just bring those 3 dots down just a little bit. So inside your cut area.
So bring them back.
Yeah, just bring it down a little bit. Yeah. So it could
Like that?
be, yeah, because you're still inside of your cut area.
Oh, I would have moved the graphic over, so I would have had, yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
But I think too, also it looks better. It doesn't, where it is. So now we got our WhatsApp, we got our black layer all released and such. And so we'll go ahead and do the same steps again, right? We're going to go to our panels. select by color, group, select all of the black, hopefully, yes. Right click, group, and make compound path. I do see some areas where I would make some stone adjustments, right? But you guys pretty much know how you do that. So we don't have to belabor that process. So it turned to color. I'm just gonna go back in here and turn them black again. So the last piece that we have now to work with is the teeth, right? So I told you we're gonna have to remove those stones over in here. So what I'm gonna do is, and give me 1 second, ladies, I need to text someone and let her know I'm not gonna be able to meet her at 5:30. I didn't even unfortunately, I'm still teaching.
I don't know if somebody else can answer this question, but could we do the what's up on the SVG file?
Can you do it in an SVG file?
You know, when we did the SVG way back.
Yeah, there's no reason why you can't. All you do is just add the what's up. But now if you want to convert it to the path, you still do it the same way.
Okay.
You use your tongue layer, convert to path so that it curves like that. And then just leave it, you know, and then you can attach it to the black layer. So like I said, again, when you go to cut it, it would all cut as one layer.
Okay. Okay.
Or either you can take your what's up when you get ready to cut it out and everything. And if you're gonna do your what's up in vinyl, you can move your what's up on the outside while you're cutting the tongue area. And when you get ready to cut the vinyl, you can move your what's up back on your cutting, on the cut sheet. I guess I'm saying that right. Back on the, let me share my screen.
Okay, hold on, let me stop. And I'm also going to pause the recording for just a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you stopped?
Hold on. No, I don't want to stop. Yes.
Just
I just
pause.
want to pause. Okay, so here we are at the point where we're going to remove the inside piece around the teeth because we don't want these stones here, right? So we moved our outline off to over here on the mat, and what you do is you select it, right?
Yes.
Right click and click release compound path.
Okay.
So now you see how after you release the compound path, you have a box. You have a box over your, you have a box over, you have multiple boxes?
Yes.
I don't.
You should.
Is that because I grouped it?
Yeah, try ungrouping. Because if you only have one solid box and then typically that's,
Okay.
did that work when you ungrouped?
Yes.
Okay, so now that we have those individualized boxes, all we have to do is click on the one for the teeth. Let's deselect. Just go ahead and deselect and click the one for the teeth. Right, everybody got their teeth selected? And go ahead and just delete it, and just delete.
But mine is still, all my boxes are there.
Then right click, then click anywhere on your design mat to unselect everything.
Okay.
And then once you do that, you should be able to click on the teeth.
Right.
And delete them.
Right.
Okay. And that's what we wanted, right? So now we're done. We don't have to go in, and all we have to do now is to release the rhinestones, right? Because if we go back, I show you, we're going to piece all our pieces back together, right? So we have this.
Don't you have to make it back to a compound path first?
Well, what we can,
different.
Yeah, what we can do is go ahead and now you can just drag a box over the whole thing and go back and make a compound path.
Is that, should we remove everything else that we put back in there? No.
No, well, we're not gonna, the only thing we removed was that outline piece, right?
I was started putting my pieces back
Oh,
in.
yeah, well, yeah, take those pieces out.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and just make that piece again, like Jackie said, let's make that the compound path.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm.
So now, if we go ahead and we start putting our pieces back together again, we see how everything fits in. Nice and snug as a bug in a rug. Put our stones back in, and then you should have off to the side somewhere that those original set of teeth that we had created.
Oh Lord, mine grouped together. Oh.
Let's see, where am I? So here are my teeth. Drag that back a little. And here are my teeth. And I fit my teeth. And see how now our teeth fit right in that spot, and we have no more overlapping stones. You good, Jackie?
Yes.
Okay. Where you at, Tracy?
Okay, so I'm grouping now, then I gotta do a release compound path. And then I'm going to put those stones in the place.
Well, why are you releasing the compound path? You've already released the compound path to remove that outline for the teeth, right?
Yeah.
So then what you want to do is you want to group it all back together again, and then you want to make that a compound path.
Oh, okay. So then I'm gonna group it back together. And then make the, oh, okay, instead of it. Oh, I got just red lines. What happened?
I don't know. What happened?
Oh, shucks. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, let's see.
While Tracina is going back and dealing with her, getting her image here. Again, just Jackie, you know what we would do so that we follow our steps one more time, right? We're gonna click on our, we got our outline click. We're gonna go to the rhinestone panel. We're gonna release those stones. We're gonna write down the number. It says, actually, before we do that, you know, I wanna make sure that, because it did not release the teeth. So I want the teeth to cut with that part of the outline on the template, because my teeth are going to be white too. So we just go back, and with our outline selected, we hold the shift key, we click on our teeth, we see the box shows up around there, and then we right click and click group. So now those two things are connected.
Okay, so Tanya, when I make the compound path, it's just the red around it.
Okay, let me stop sharing my screen so that I can see what you got going on.
You see that?
Okay, yeah, but that's just your red outline. If you go ahead and you I don't know why you have those those white circles right there. Go back.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. Okay.
Okay, I see why, because that was part of your, that's fine. I can
So
see
I
now.
needed
So,
the group, right?
just go back the other way, not the undo, but the redo.
Right here.
That one. Click it again. Oh, it won't. Okay, go back. Yeah, there. This part just didn't, for some reason, didn't, that part of the outline. Okay, just go back to the very beginning. Go back. I'll tell you when to stop. Go back, go back, go back. Let's see something. Keep going back. Okay. So right there, go ahead and turn that image and turn the rhinestone effect. Well, first of all, move the black piece out of the way for a minute. The black and the red, move all of that out of the way. Because I want you to be able to drag a box. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm seeing something else. When you drag that red, drag that red again, drag it down. Okay, that piece, you got that group together for the moment. Go ahead and right click and ungroup. Okay, so now go ahead and just drag the lips out of the way. Wait a minute, you can still ungroup. Right click again. Okay, release compound path. Now, just let go of the mouse. Just click anywhere. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Move that the solid pieces out of the way. Yeah, drag them out of the way. Move your black out of the way.
Over here.
Yeah, just keep moving it out of the way so that it's off of the red, because right now your red stones are all individual stones.
Oh, okay.
Do that. Move all of that stuff off the mat. Don't have anything red on your mat other than the stones. So okay, wait a minute. You got okay. Move that. Move the white. Move the other one. Just kind of move. All right, don't worry about that piece. Move your mat back over so I can see. Okay, now drag a box and grab all of those red stones. Bring your box. Okay, yep, there you go. Now just drag them onto the mat so that those hanging ones are on the mat.
Group
now,
it? No.
Yeah, you can group it. You can actually group it. Okay, that's fine. So now that they're grouped together, go ahead and make them compound path. And go ahead and just turn the fill color back red.
My whole screen is just off. It's crazy. Oh Lord, I'm so tired of it.
You're good. Just click back on your lips.
Okay, so click on this and then my fill red. Okay.
Right. Okay. So now just so now scroll down just a little bit so I can see. Okay, and move your fill panel out the way. Thank you. All right. So now, don't put them back yet. We need to work with that white later. So now, I think so. Move the red out of the way.
Off.
And that's just a little bit out of the way. That's all. Go back to the white and click on the image. Okay. See how you don't? It's not, the pieces are not grouped together. You got the bottom. You got the tongue that got selected, and that's right. So now let's just go ahead and just drag a box around all of it. Always drag your box from further away. So just go way out. There you go. It makes it easier to grab all of the pieces that you want to select. And go ahead and right click and hit group. Okay. So now if you go ahead and all your pieces are grouped together, which is what we want. Right. Go ahead and open up the Rhinestone panel. And go ahead and release your rhinestones. And now right click and group them together. And then make them the compound path. Okay. Turn them back white. Okay, and now you can start piecing your pieces back together again.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen again.
Okay. Did I stop sharing?
Okay. Okay, so we are back, and I think, let me see, did I release my stones? I did not. Okay, so my stones have not been released yet. So I think like I said, I'm satisfied for now. If I want to make some adjustments, we can come back and make those adjustments later. But I'll go ahead and release my rhinestones. There's 690 of them all total. So I will release the rhinestones. And I'll right click and group and make them a compound path.
What are you grouping? The black and the outline?
No, I'm only grouping the white stones because those are the ones we were working with.
Oh, I don't think I did that. Okay. Release compound. And then go back and
Well, let's go
group
back. Let's go back and undo. Whatever you did, let's go back to undo.
and make compound path. Oh shit. I mean, excuse me.
Bleep, bleep.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry.
What
It didn't
happened?
work.
Okay, so let's just go back and undo. Like I said, undo is your friend.
Okay.
Let's go back and undo to before we release the stones, the white stones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we back before we release the stones?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and release them. Make sure that you have your teeth and your outline grouped together.
My
So
teeth
right,
and
so
my
make sure
outline.
right, the white part of the outline, make sure they're grouped together.
Oh, the white part of the outline.
Yes.
Outline is black.
Yeah, but we want the white, the white one.
Okay.
The very outer one. Did you turn it white?
It was already white.
Okay.
Which one? Show me which one you talking about. The outer part.
This one.
Which one? Okay, yeah. Okay. So my teeth and the out, and I'm grouping, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it's grouped.
It's grouped. Okay. So now that they're grouped together, when you go to your rhinestone panel.
Go to rhinestone panel. Okay.
And do you see the number of stones under the 10SS?
Yes.
Okay, so that just lets us know that those rhinestones have not yet been released.
Okay.
At this point, we want to go ahead and release the rhinestones.
Release. Okay, they released. That's
Okay.
the white part.
Huh?
The white part is being released.
Right. So now we go ahead and just right click and group those together.
Right click, group.
And then right click and make compound path.
Right click and make compound path. Cool beans.
Cool beans. I'm loving it. All right, Miss Fracita, you've been quiet over there. How you following along? You doing good? Tracy, you're muted, but I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. What about you, Francina?
Yes, I am, and I will definitely be waiting on the recording.
Yes, the recording will be your friend because we're going over a lot of stuff, right? But you're doing it for yourself, right? And I think that's where the most important part of it lies, because when you do go back and you watch the recording, you can be listening. You can be listening sometimes and have your screen up and just follow along,
Right.
and you can do it at your own pace. You can go back and rewind it and then go in such. And so you'll have the steps that you need because we're taking the time to go through them individually as you have your own issue. Work through your issue, work through other people's issues, and then get you back on track.
Okay. So then, and I get that. The reason why is because my question is, I know we're doing this from image that's already been created. Okay. And it has all the extra, it had not, I shouldn't say extra steps, it has all the other steps. And what I want to do usually I will do a guide, little step guide that I can follow. But my other question is, if you're doing something from scratch, just something scratch, are we still following almost the same steps or?
It would depend on what
Okay.
you were creating, right?
Okay, like
So
just words.
right. So these steps will work for any graphic that you try to bring in, right? As long as, and let me preface this by, we want to work with graphics that have very clean lines to them, right? That are very, black and white images work best, right? Because when you go to do the trace, you're going to usually get a very good trace when you work with images that are just black and white. And the lines are very, distinct. when you start working with images that have color in them and the lines are really fine, and maybe you get one of those images that like how to have the African American woman, and she's got on a bun and it's all different colors and she got wording on the side and all that. When you go to try to trace that, it's not going to trace the way you want it to. It's going to be very difficult to try to get all of those different elements. So when I'm creating my templates and I want to use a design that I found, I try to find ones that are really easy to work with, right? Because that's going to make it really easy for me to create the rhinestone template, and I don't have to spend a lot of time with the design. You can do things and create from scratch, like say for instance, and I'll show you right quick, like say for instance, you just come in here and you say I want to do a star, so we just drag out a star, right? And then we can slide this in, and that's going to change the points on our star. You're going to get all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm going to just show you something real quick. This is I'm just showing you something real quick, right? So you can do that. And then if you wanted to do something, and let's say we type out, come on, I'm going to type out my name, TonyA, right? And I'm going to scale that up a little bit. So we got my star over here, and that's going to be my base. And then I want to type out my name. I'm going to make my name nice and big, right? Because I'm going to stick my name in here like this, right? So I'm going to do this, but I don't like this font. I want something that is a little chunkier, maybe a little easier to work with. I have this font. This one tends to convert pretty well on its own. This is this Berlin Sans FB Demi. And it might be a system font that's already on your computer, from your Microsoft fonts, because I don't recall downloading this font. But I'm going to use this one. And what I want to do is I want to create a rhinestone template where my name is cut out of this star. Right? That's what I want to do. So I'm creating a template from scratch per se. So in order to do that, right, you could do this. You could say, okay, so here's Tanya, and I want to turn on this edge fill, and then I have my outline here, but I'm going to want that to be the radial, right? I want all of that to kind of be filled in, but I can't do it like that, right? Because that doesn't look good. So we got to do those steps that we did before when we had our other graphic. Remember, we're going to be opening up the modify panel, and we're going to be subtracting the Tanya away from the star so that we can fit Tanya inside of the star. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the effects off so you can see. Before we do that, I got to create the space in the star in order to fit Tanya in there, right? So what we would do is I would take my Tanya, and I'm going to create, well, let's just say, do I like this? Is this, let me see if this is scaled up big enough, because I don't necessarily want the A to be on its own like that. I might do something like, we might make Tanya a little wider. Let's just, I might do something like, I might do something like this, right? I might even scale this out a little bit more. Okay. So I might have my image might look something like this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the edge fill just to kind of see where my stones are lining up, right? Just to see if any of them might be overlapping or anything of that nature. Because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create an offset first, right? I have to create the offset first. And so when I look at this, I go, when I go to create this offset, I think it'll be okay. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can do it while it's in the rhinestone. So I'm going to go ahead here to the offset. I'm going to click offset. I got my 1030. That's what I want, right? Because that's our stone spacing between the two pieces. So what I'm going to do is come back here to the rhinestone panel, and it's going to turn off the effect, right? Because I want to cut, I don't want it to cut the holes. I want it to cut the straight line. So I'm going to move my Tanya out of the way, right? Left the rhinestones on. I'm going to grab both of those. I can drag my box like this, right? Or I can select each one, hold the shift key, and then get the second one. So here's this outline. Well, actually, because parts of the offset weren't connected, that's why it made it, separate pieces. So not to have to worry about that, I'm just going to drag my box out over the whole thing, and go open my modify panel and do subtract all, right? So now I have that out. I can get rid of this red outline part because I don't need this anymore. And now I'm just left with this piece. Now you see there's some pieces that are kind of hanging chads over here. We won't need those, right? So we just go in here and we just release the compound path. Oh, wait a minute. First, we got to ungroup. And I already released the compound path. So we ungroup, and then we just go ahead and click on those little pieces and go ahead and delete them. Right? And now our Tanya fits right back into that space. We line it up. And I got to click on the pieces that kind of, once I release this, it made those individual pieces. I just go ahead and group those back together. And I can go ahead and turn the rhinestone panel on and see which fill I like. Oh, I forgot to group one panel. Sorry. And turn that a different color. And I would play around with that some more. Okay, so there we go, right? We have a design that we just created from scratch to make it rhinestones. Now, if I wanted to fill in the Tanya, right? Because that looks a little plain because we don't have part of the star, on the other sides where we sliced it out. So all we do is we come in here to Tanya and we click on it. We go to our offset panel, excuse me. We're going to create what? Internal offset. Okay. I've got my rhinestone panel turned on so I can see exactly where those stones showed up. And that's exactly where I want them. I go in here, go back to the panel, click the radial fill so it fills all of it in. Okay. Try the hatch fill. See if I like that. Maybe I'll go with radial. We'll go ahead and turn those stones another color. I'm not an AKA, but I'm gonna turn it green. I'm gonna turn it pink and green, right? Turn that pink and green. Let's go back out to our rhinestone panel. Let's check our spacing. We're on our SS20. We're on our 10 SS stones. I'm gonna go in here and turn that background black just so we can kind of see what those stones look like. And then would come in here and, like I said, we would make those adjustments and, add stones, take away stones. I might go back and re-edit. Like right now, like I said, we haven't released any stones. So I can drag my box again around the whole thing, grab that corner, scale it up. But remember, my computer is acting a little funny today. So, but we would grab that. It won't let me grab it. Grab that corner. There it is. Grab it. And as I grab it and make it larger, you see how those stones are filling in because we're making the image bigger. So there's more room for those stones to fit. So I say I'm happy with this size. Well, if I were, like I said, my computer's acting up. But anyway, if I were happy with that size, then I would just go back in here, release those stones, make the necessary edits, and boom, just like that, you've created a rhinestone template from scratch. It's simple.
Oh, cool.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's simple in its simplicity, but this is how you get started. You start with simple things and you build on those elements, right? If we wanted to do something a little bit more funky, right, we could come in here and we could make another outline around this. But in doing so, remember what's going to happen. If I select all of this and I create another offset, create an offset, my 0.130, That's right. I turn those stones and so I can see them. Turn them yellow. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Well, I do that, but I had the radial fill turned on. So let me just turn the see? We want to do, if we wanted to create a, let's say we wanted, you know what? I want to bring this out some more. I want to make this really colorful. So I can go in here. I'm already on that out. I'm already clicked on the offset that I just created, right? I can go back here again. I could create another offset, right? I probably would go ahead and space this one out a little bit further because it's technically going to be another layer, right? It's going to be another layer. It's not going to be attached to the stones that I already have. So I would go out here and I might make my spacing 0.13, let's see which way goes bigger. See, as I make these, see, as I'm making the stones bigger, you see how they're going further away from the other offset? You see that, Jackie? Right? You see now? And if I go in here and I go in here and I turn this a color. Okay? Look at that. Say we want to go out one more. Okay, we're already clicked on our offset. We just click it again. Go to my offset, click again. It's going to remember that spacing. Remember, it remembers the spacing that you used the last time. So I like that spacing because now I'm getting that graduated kind of like effect. But let's say I want to do something else, right? Let's say I want to start creating, you know how you hear about the scatter patterns, right? Where the stones are kind of like shooting out from your design. Okay, so in order to do that, you create your offset. Okay, I've created this offset. You go over here to your rhinestone panel. Okay, and in the spacing, you want to change the spacing. So right now we're at this 0, 2, 0. If I left the spacing there, and let's just go here, I'm going to change the rhinestone and I'm going to change this to a color. I'm going to make that blue, right? But I want to kind of start giving it that scatter effect. I go back here to the rhinestone panel and I start playing with my spacing. You can start with the up arrow and click it one time. You see how the spacing went and it made those spaces further apart. You click it again, they're going to get even more further apart, right? So now if you want to start creating that scatter pattern, what you do is you just keep creating offsets. So I'm going to create another offset. Okay, see where those stones went, right? They're spaced at that same spacing we had before, but I'm going to go here to my rhinestone panel and I'm going to increase that spacing again. Go ahead and color them so that you can see it. Make them white, maybe. Do I like the way that's looking? I don't know. Go back to the rhinestone panel and keep playing with that spacing. Okay, you can use the arrow key to get those stones to space the way you want, or you can manually go in there and start spacing. All right, I think maybe I need one more offset. So I go back in here, I create another offset. It's going to take that same spacing. I can go ahead and change the color of it now. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it white. And I'll just go back to my rhinestone and I will play with those spacing. Okay. And that's how you go about creating a scatter pattern around an image or a word or something to that effect. And if you were done, we would go ahead, we would release all, if you were happy with that, then all we have to do is go ahead and release the rhinestones and we would be done. Group, go through our steps, release your rhinestones, group them together, make your compound path, and then you have created your layers. You can, if you want to say something, go ahead, unmute yourself.
That is too cool. I seen another design recently. Might have been last night, maybe. I don't know. But somebody did some now I know what it's called, the scatter effect.
Scatter pattern.
Scatter. Oh my gosh, this is cool. I'm like, wow.
How about you, Jackie? Because I know you, like I said, I know you're not a beginner. You're not an intermediate either, because you showed us something we didn't know today. But go ahead.
Yeah, I really like the scattered pattern and everything. And what I learned today was that subtraction because I never did the subtraction before because
Right.
I was just creating my image in the rhinestones. So now I know whatever my image is, I have to ungroup it and do the subtraction, correct?
Subtraction, if you want to create those pieces of the element that you want to make rhinestones, you want to do the subtraction so that you can make those pieces in between fit into the design if they all going to be separate colors or things of that nature. Yes.
Oh, okay. Got you. Well, and at the end of the class, I do have a logo that I want you to see. Where's that? How, when you do
See if we can okay. All right.
It's not working.
All right, we'll see if we can work through that. But anyway, but that like I think you know what? I mean, I just did this on the fly, right?
It looks good.
And I like that, right? But now what I would do is now this is what I would do, right? Because my well, I don't know. Well, what I probably would do is I would probably want my stones like right here between the pink and the green. You see where like this one was yellow, right? I think I would want my yellow stones to follow that, right? That's going to require the manual manipulation. After I release the stones, I have to go in there and turn each one of those yellow, but it would be worth it to me because when I'm finished, I would have that three-dimensional look with each of the different outlines for my design. And this one, let me go back in here and just turn this layer white. Let's go ahead and do that for a second.
And when you do go in and change your outlines to the yellow as you state, once you cut your template out, how do you put the different color rhinestones in there?
We'll use that feature we used before when we go to the panels and we select by color. Because once I release the rhinestones, right? Like I'll show you right quick. So let's just say,
but
I'll show you right quick.
It out. I mean, it sounds like you cutting this template out on your fly, right? And when you putting the rhinestones in there, how do you go about putting scatter them in on your template?
Okay, I think I understand your question. So let's just say, well, before we do that, let me go back to the other image that we had. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to move this out of the way, and then we're going to come back. We'll come back to
dude.
That's Tracina's thing over there. But okay, here's something that we were talking about, Francina, right? Here's an image that somebody reached out to me and says, oh, somebody wanted me to turn this image over here on the left into a rhinestone template. Okay. Well, when this is all you have to work with, right? You see what happened when I traced it? That is not going to turn into no rhinestone template. It's just not. I mean, I could click on it and I could just, really quickly just do the edge fill. You can't see what that says. I mean, you can see the bulldog somewhat, right? But it's not, I mean, it's just not good. And even if I turn it down and I make them SS6 stones, that made it a little bit better. But this design would require a lot of work. And so I'm gonna have to, like I said, I don't know what I'm gonna tell this person just yet, but anyway, that's why I'm saying, not all designs, like this design, even though you can trace it, but because it has this shadow back here like this, it's gonna, like I said, when it traces it, it's gonna try to trace that shadow, So basically what I would probably have to do is come back and make these just individual words, right? And just try to see if I can make those rhinestones. Like, so it would be like I would do this and release the compound path. I'm just gonna see if I can do this right quick. And see if this, like this, and see, like, you know, move this out of the way. So now it's starting to, you see how it's starting to take shape, right? It's starting to take shape, but it still needs a lot of work. And I would have to probably find a font that worked better. It might be that we have to sacrifice the this open hollow look for a straight line font. You know, if we could find one that works small enough. And the same thing for the 45-year class reunion. Because like I said, even here, we're already at 6 SS stones.
Right.
But for every graphic that I use, everything that I start with, I always start with these same steps. I start with the trace, and then I work my way through the graphic, looking at which parts of the graphic need what, and either subtracting or taking away or what adding or whatever I have to do to try to get it there. So but let me see if I can find the one we were working on, because that's our WhatsApp. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this was our design. I'm gonna go ahead and like I said, we'll come back to this in a minute, and I'm gonna show Jackie what you do. I'm gonna cut this and put it on a different mat for the moment. Okay, and then I'll come back and get our other design so that we can finish up this one. And then we will go off recording because we will be done. Okay, so that's too big. Here to the mat. Okay, we got our what's up. Now remember, you can't see the what's up because it's black and my media screen is black. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn my media screen back to a grayish color so you can see the what's up. I'm gonna scroll out a little bit. Scroll out. Okay, so I've got all my, I think I got everything is released now. Everything has been turned into its own compound path. So at this point, we would be done after you make what other edits that you wanted to make. We would be done with our image. And so at that point, everybody knows how you create your layers, right? So this is a layer. This is a layer that has to be cut on your flop, right? So this is a pretty big design. It's going to require a lot of flop, but and this is a piece, and this is a piece. Now, I know that everybody has, you know, issues sometimes with the type of flop that they use, right? I have my, I use the blue kind. Some of you might be using the pink one. But what I have found with the brand of flop that I, you know, both sell and use, if I create my template, rather than just taking the layer, right? Like say we take this layer, and you know how you go to the design, you go to your send, and and then, you know, you turn it on to your Rhinestone template and you cut that out, right? What I have found that works better for me in making sure that my dots all removed from the mat is I go in here and I take this part of the image and and I show you too what I would do. If you have a Cameo, then you know you can go in here and you can change your media size. And right now I have mine set to a 12 by 24. Let's see how we can, how much of this we can actually fit onto a, so we know we can get these two pieces on a 24. We might could even do, let me see. We got this, depending on, I try to save as much flop as I can. Let me just see what happens if I rotate this image. I can't get to my toolbar because I'm sure, oh, here it is. If I object, go to objects and I rotate this, let's say 180 degrees. And I use this, I do this rather than to turn that little green circle, because you know that little green circle will allow you to rotate your image. But when you start messing with that, if you don't like the rotation and you forget to do undo and you start doing a bunch of other stuff, sometimes you can't get it back on its axis correctly. But if you use this rotate tool and rotate from here, see, I can rotate the 180 degrees and it'll keep, you know, it stays where it's supposed to, you know, everything stays like it's supposed to. So I would probably, if it were me, I might would try to, I don't know. I might not be able to get it because it's just, it's tight. It's tight. I don't know that I can fit the tongue. I'm not gonna be able to get that. It's too big. So we're gonna wind up having to use at least, you know, 24 inches of flock plus another, you know, 7 or 8 inches to do the other half. But I definitely would roll out 24 inches if I had a 24-inch mat and put both of those pieces on the mat together and let it cut. And then what I do is, I tell you what I do. So I take a box, and maybe Jackie, you do this as well, Francina. I draw out the box and I bring the box behind the image. Then I just scale it. Let me move this one out of the way for a minute. Scale that down till I have a box around the image. And this is kind of similar to if you ever do any, you know, Cricut crafting where you're doing any like permanent vinyl and you want to create a weed box. That's basically kind of what I'm doing, is I'm just kind of creating this weed box around my image. And like I said, I don't necessarily want to waste flock, so I might would do something like that. And then once I get my weed box around the image, I just kind of just drag the box around the both of them and come back here to the modify panel and click subtract all. And once I do that, I just move the oh no, no. Oh, my system crashed. But the essence would be you would create that weed box, subtract all, move your holes out of the way, and then you would be left with the square with nothing but the holes. Okay. Yes, you'll be left with nothing but the holes. And then when that cuts, you'll get that nice square that you pull off your mat, and you can use that to place it onto your plastic or whatever you use to mount your templates on. And I will also say that if you get into the place where you want to sell your templates, right? But you don't want people being able to take parts of your design and, you know, use them for other things and so forth and so on. If you do it this way, this is all they get, is the square with the holes in it. And that's what I'm starting to do, is create my templates. And when I create them, you get the size dimensions. You size that piece to the dimensions that I give you. And that way that your hole sizes will still be your 0.130, but you don't get the individual holes and the part of my design that then you could take my parts of my design and then maybe recreate something else. I don't necessarily want people to do that. So I'm doing it this way, cutting them out and giving them these dimensions. And that's what I've seen, like TRW and some other places, when they give you templates, they don't necessarily give you all of the holes. They just kind of give you the piece of holes cut out of the flock, simulated flock per se. But my system crashed, so give me a minute to come out of this. Hold on a second. And hopefully we're at a place where when I log back in, we'll still have my design. Give me 1 second. All right, share my screen. Uh-oh, where's my silhouette? Okay. I'm back up. Okay, so here we are. And lips version 2. I'm gonna open that recovered video thing. And hopefully the other one also opened up. Not that one, but the other one. Our star. Hoping it saved our star. Yes, okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have our lips. This was our WhatsApp. I don't need this. We're gonna turn that background back gray real quick. And so where were we? What was I doing? Oh, we were talking about our layers, right? So I don't want my system to crash again, but you get the concept, right? Create the weed box, put it behind your graphic, your layer, click your modify panel, click subtract all, and then you will get just the weed box with the circles. And then just lay that out on your mat and send it to your cutter and cut it. And there we are. We have created our what's up Rhinestone template. I hope that each of you will create one, stone it, and Tracina, go ahead and hold yours up and show up the one that you did last night. Let's see it. So you guys can see what it looks like with the stones, because it was absolutely gorgeous. Go ahead, y'all go ahead and take your move, unmute yourself now, because we got to hear this. We got to hear it.
Nice, nice.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Black is the felt.
She did flock, you did flock, right?
Flock, yes, I'm sorry. It's flock on the inside of
Oh, okay.
stones. Yeah.
But we didn't, when she cut her template, she didn't have the WhatsApp part of it. So
Right.
what I'll probably do is just send it to her as a separate file, because she can always just cut that out on a piece of flock and add those stones. Well, once I know what dimension she has on her shirt, so I can send her that, and then she can cut that as a separate piece of the template and piece it together if she wants to actually add the WhatsApp. Or you could, like I said, you don't have to add it if you don't want to. That's your choice.
So with the flock that you did in between, you pressed that after you pressed the stones?
I did it first because the stones are higher than the flock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, it was tricky to keep it because it was black, you know.
Uh-huh.
On a black shirt. I probably should have maybe did a heather gray or a different color shirt.
And so basically what she did is, even though in our design, you know, we turned our black layer into rhinestones, she just left her black layer with no effect. You know, like I said, she just left it with a no effect, so that way she could cut it as something different. You know, the other thing you could have, you know, if she didn't want to do flock and you wanted to do glitter, say for instance, if you want to do glitter vinyl, right? You want to do a black glitter vinyl, you could do a black glitter vinyl.
Oh yeah.
And then your stones would go around it, and then in the inside of it.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it. I'm getting the video now, because the black outline of the tongue she cut with the flock.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Okay.
So then, like you did, is there such thing as flock that's like vinyl that you could press down, or can
Yes.
we just press down the regular flock?
Well, I don't know that you can press down regular flock, but there is an HTV flock. I have a piece of it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, because right now the color that I have is black.
Okay, I
This is,
see it.
this is what it looks like. And on the back side of it, it's kind of, it's a little bit different than the backside of HTV, but
Mhm.
very similar. But the piece, when you go to pull the carrier sheet off, after you cut it and you peel that off, you're left with that soft, flocky type of material. And it has that sticky part that attaches to your garment when you put the heat to it.
Okay.
Yeah. And flock comes in all different kinds of colors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one thing I will tell you, I was telling Tracina about flock, is certain color, like the white flock. It's pretty, but it picks up like lint. It picks up a whole lot of hairs and kind of stuff on it, you know, as you have it. So, but what you do to clean it, you just get one of them little lint brushes and you just rub the lint brush over it and that cleans it up. But we talked about maybe, you know, seeing about, you know, using puff vinyl. You know, we said puff vinyl, you know, would look good, but it might, you know, hinder the stones, because when the puff vinyl expands, you might lose that spacing that you've already created in your template. So a lot of things will be trial and error as you try to figure out, you know, what works. But you know, it'd be fun to kind of like figure out, you know, what kind of different elements can you add to this design to make it look different, you know. Um, but there we are. Like I said, we created our rhinestone template, ladies. Give yourself a round of applause. Yes.
Yay.
Yay. All
Job
right.
done.
So I'm gonna show you, Jackie, on video, how I get the outline of yellow stones around this particular image that we created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I will answer your question about your logo. And if anybody else then at that point has some questions, we'll go off camera. Well, we'll go off camera after I finish this and we'll talk about that. Okay. So
Okay.
this is what I would do. So I've got my stones and I'm looking at that and I'm going, yeah, you know what? I really would like for my like right here where my mouse is above the pink, right?
Yes.
Above the pink, I want those stones to be yellow, and around, I want my yellow stones around all of that. So this is the tedious part. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and release, oops, just my white stones. I am just going to release my white stones. Well, before I do that, just for argument, I'll show you. So this is a piece. I got to make sure all of this stuff is kind of grouped together. I think this might be a piece. And I really want my offsets to get grouped together. But if I don't catch them all, oh darn. Let me turn this outline, this media panel black so I can see. Turn this back white. Oops. Turn this gray. Okay, so I want all my whites, all my offsets that I created. I don't want the purple one. So I'm gonna, hopefully I don't have that one selected. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I think that's it. And then I want this, and I want to make sure I get this if I didn't get it. Hopefully okay, no, yeah, I think I got that. Okay, let's see, I think I got it all. So I'm gonna group all of that together. And then I'm gonna move it out of the way and make sure I got, oh, look at that, yay, I got everything. Okay, but I'm gonna put it back. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in here and go to my rhinestone panel. And ooh, that's a lot of stones. Okay. And I'm gonna release the rhinestones.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a minute because it's a lot. And my system, like I said, the resources are okay, there we go. So it released the rhinestones. I'm gonna go back so you can so you see it released all the rhinestones.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is what I would do. And this is how you go in and you kind of, you know, again, set that, if anybody has seen my designs where the football girls, the Afro girls with the baseball caps on and have the outline of the team or whatever inside the inset, this is how I do this. Telling y'all my secret. Don't go telling nobody else. But this is what I do. So I go in here, and I just start with I just start clicking those stones, right? And I just make them yellow. I think this is the same yellow, and individually, one by one. Now to make it faster, of course, I can hold my shift key.
I was getting ready to ask what you do with the shift key.
Yes, you can hold the shift key and just up. I clicked the wrong part of the image, so I don't want that. I don't want that. That's the one part sometimes that can be a pain when you're clicking like that, because if you click the wrong part of it, but I'll go ahead. Okay, this is better. That's better, and then I go and then I click, and we'll keep going. You know, and you can do this, right? And you may not catch all of them at the same time, but that's okay. You try to grab as many of them as you can. See, I click that. I don't want that. Click that back. And just keep turning the stones that you want to the color that you want. Right. So we would just keep doing that. And like I said, it can do that. I see an overlapping stone right here. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. But this is the premise of how you do that, right? And you would just I would just keep going. Now I would get these. I wouldn't necessarily get that in this the middle piece right here, because that's not part of my outline. That's the part that divides that Y. So